Hello everyone, welcome to my Dragon Ball Daima compilation video. I know some people enjoy long-form content, so I decided to take all my reviews and smash it into one. If you want timestamps for the different videos, they'll be in the description. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, this is Mr. Jodrick, and I'm going to do an episode 1 of Dragon Ball Daima review. Let's start with the spoiler-free parts. The animation was nothing short of beautiful. It was a pleasure to look at, and it really captured Toriyama's manga style way better than everything else. The fights and movement were fluid, and the animation itself was consistent, with none of the problems that Dragon Ball Super had when it first started. The music was very good. It felt fun, bubbly when it needed to be, and also dark and ambient at the same time when you're in the demon realm. I really love the small touches of like the rain sounds and the overall atmosphere. They did a very good job with the audio as well as the visuals. The ending theme, which I assume was actually the opening just played at the end as anime do sometimes, was really nice, and I hope that I get to hear that again and again, because it was just really pretty to listen to. Could stay as the ending theme if they want, but I think it's the opening theme. I don't know because I haven't listened to any of them yet. I know they've been around online for a little bit, but yeah. And as to people wondering, can I watch this without seeing Dragon Ball Super? The answer is yes. It takes place after Z but before Super, specifically even before Battle of Gods. I would recommend seeing all of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. If you want to get crazy, read the manga, look at Dr. Slump and all the other connected things to the universe, like Jocko the Galactic Patrolman. But yeah, all you really need is Dragon Ball Z knowledge. But, you know, I'm a nerd and I've seen it all. And the last thing in the spoiler-free segment is that the lore is fun and it fits great with the established lore that Toriyama had talked about with the demon race prior. It wasn't a whole lot, but if you're a deep fan, you've looked into these things already. So I'm glad that it's pretty consistent. Now for the spoiler segment. If you haven't seen the episode, this is your warning. Don't watch this part without watching the first episode. Right off the bat, retcons up the booty in this first episode. The big thing that I noticed was Kibito Kai, the fusion between Supreme Kai Shin and Kibito, had unfused in a different way as to the one we were given in Dragon Ball Super. In Super, it was stated that the Namekian Dragon Balls were used to wish them apart, but in Daima, it is now said that they asked Buu to use his absorbing thing that happened in Z with Vegito, and his body's atmosphere dissolved their fusion. Wasn't super clear, but you know, it's whatever. They're going back to the way that people used to think it is. It is a retcon, but it's not a big deal because I'll explain later about the consistencies and inconsistencies from Toriyama's script and things in Super, which might be why that happened. However, I don't think they retconned the 1 hour time limit from Super. I believe it was stated that Potara fusion is only permanent if it involves Supreme Kais. In the Super manga, Black and Zamasu start defusing, but Zamasu's immortality gets in the way of this. If Zamasu had not been immortal, then they would have likely just split and the problem would have been solved because they could have just taken them out separately. Changes and inconsistencies like these are due to Toyotaro and Toei having different interpretations on Toriyama's outline for Dragon Ball Super. If you didn't know, Toriyama had a major outline for all of Dragon Ball Super, and the manga and the anime took different routes because they made different decisions with the story. These are little things, but important for things like this. The 1 hour time limit is for only those who are not Supreme Kai, and it is first stated in the Future Trunks arc, which takes place after Daima, so there is no reason to assume that this 1 hour time limit has been retconned either. It also doesn't break canon having Kibito Kai being defused from Buu. It's just a different explanation, and this is the one we're going to go with, I guess, which is fine. Now, a hardcore fan like me had some small nitpicks. For example, Dr. Arinsu, I might be saying that wrong, was said to be the sister of Shin and Degesu. Most people would be like, yeah, so what? She's a core world race, aka the Supreme Kai race. It's not crazy that they are related. But as some of us know, each core person is not created like a human would be. They are born from magical fruits that grow off the Tree of Worlds, aka the Kaiju tree. It is presumed that they do not reproduce or have family structure like the humans, so it is supposedly inconsistent to call them siblings. Though I guess if they come from all the same tree, siblings make some kind of sense as they share a mother, so to speak, being the tree. The only other thing I needed to adjust to was some color decisions made for the characters. For one, Goku's outfit is just too yellow-orange for my liking. Kibito is also a totally different skin tone than he was in the Z anime, and Mr. Popo's vest not being red threw me off as well. However, from what I can tell, all these so-called changes are actually part of the anime's attempt to stay close to Toriyama's manga color palette. Now let's talk about some of the new lore we got. First off, new series, new Dragon Balls. like usual. I'm very interested to learn and see what the Demon Realm dragon looks like and what its capabilities and limitations are. It seems they are tied to black magic. As stated, the Earth set is tied to white magic. This vaguely reminds me of the Shadow Dragons in GT and how using the Dragon Balls created negative energy, though it is obviously not the same. While we're on the topic of GT, I'm sure a lot of people are calling this the canon version of GT, but I don't agree. Yes, Goku was wished into a child's body in GT, but don't forget, the Pilaf gang did the same thing to gain some extra lifespan prior to the events of Battle of Gods. To a lesser extent, Bulma took this idea and wished for small bumps in her youth, as revealed in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. All that is to say is that there's some consistency in canon for this particular type of wish. Though, I can recognize GT being the first to use that wish, and to be used to try and foil Goku. Back to the Demon Realm. We found out that all Namekians in Universe 7, and likely Universe 6, originated in the Demon Realm, as they all have pointy ears. This harkens back to before the Namekians were a race, and Demon King Piccolo was a literal Demon King. I wonder if this means that maybe someone in the lineage of the King of the Demon Realm are responsible for making them. If not, then maybe the Maikaioshin. For all we know, Dr. Arinsu is responsible for their creation. Since the Namekians only drink water and love the Aisas trees, they could have come from a corrupted or experimented on fruit from the Tree of Worlds. I'm also interested to see if the dragon god Zarama ties into this, as he is the one who created the Super Dragon Balls. It's going to be interesting seeing where the Namekian lore goes from here and how people like Piccolo and Dende react to all of this. Overall, I thought the episode was a great way to kick it off. It was rounded in the animation, in the story, I like the characters, and I'm excited to see where this goes. Just based off this first episode, I'd say Daima has a strong start, and right now is truly a great time to be a Dragon Ball fan with both Daima and Sparking Zero happening at the same time. For all the people out there who are cautious about Daima and are not liking the directions it's going and some of the decisions that was made, just please try to remember, this was Akira Toriyama's work. He put more of himself into this than he originally expected to, and I think the end result is going to be better because of it. It's also his last project before dying. Not saying that means you have to like it, you have to love it, but just, if you like Toriyama and his work, I think it's worth giving it a shot. Well, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week, or whenever the next episode drops, for another review. Peace. Mr. Jodrick here, and we're back for a episode 2 review of Dragon Ball Daima. My initial thoughts are that Daima is just so much fun. I love the direction it seems to be going in. It's going to be like another grand adventure, like GT tried to be. I mean, GT was an adventure. I'm not trying to poop on GT here. It was fun. It had forthcomings, but it was not, amazing. Super had its issues too, but I digress. Daima seems like it's going to be a real return to the original Dragon Ball formula. And I see a lot of fans praising the series for that. I believe Sean Schemmel said something similar to that. I'll post a clip right after this.
Oh no, you made Goku a kid again. And I can tell you from my own experience doing it, what's great about Akira Toriyama is that he can take one of his, an old concept or an old idea and make it fresh. Like when Resurrection F came out, even when we heard about it, I remember thinking, oh man, Frieza again? I thought we were done with Frieza. But then it was amazing. Yeah. And then they brought back Cell, and I thought, when are we going to have a new villain? But it was amazing. So initially, I was like, well, he's a kid again. I mean, I was GT, but I know if it's his project and he wants to do it and it's his baby, it's going to be great. Yeah. He's really just so good at just telling stories and such a master of comedy and humor and creative ideas.
This is just a really Toriyama property. Obviously, all of this Dragon Ball is, but, it feels the fun, it feels the wacky, cartoony adventure that the original Dragon Ball had. It's going to have its action like the Dragon Ball Z fans want, but it's going to have that original, mystical journey, and the Demon Realm is going to be a great place to do that. We also got a little bit more expansion on some of the lore. When it was stated that not all pointy-eared people come from the Demon Realm, really glad they said that, because I've seen some people go in and being like, oh, this guy's now from the Demon Realm, and this guy's from the Demon Realm, and that's fine. Obviously, we're still learning as we were watching, but my initial thoughts were, yeah, it's a possibility, but it's not probably going to be everyone. Something that didn't make immediate sense to me was when Piccolo had knowledge of, what's that guy, the old guy's name? I forget right now, but it'll be on the screen. and the editor version of me will be yelling at myself for not remembering. But how he said that, how Piccolo knew who that Namekian old man was, and that he knew of his history and how he was the last one, and also how the Namekians had an exodus out of the demon realm because they didn't like being ruled over. The only way that makes sense is that he learned that from Nail, because Kami certainly didn't know that, because he only remembered ever the loneliness of Yanzabit Heights and Earth. He never knew planet Namek. And Demon King Piccolo definitely didn't know that, because even though he was called Demon King, that was probably more of just a inner calling to call himself that, because he thinks he's a demon, which, kind of technically is now. But in reality, he was a Namekian who was from the demon realm, but I don't think they necessarily are demons. They might have been an offshoot of demons. But, yeah. So that leaves only Nail to be the one to give Piccolo that knowledge, because Nail grew up on planet Namek. He was right under Elder Guru, who he, if anyone, would know the history. Probably similar with Dende, but I don't think, I'd have to rewatch episode 1, but I don't believe Dende immediately recognized that these guys were from Demon Realm. Overall, though, episode's really great, really fun. All the characters being young is funny. It's also cute, and I love the art style. Bulma just being herself and going to repair this Supreme Kai spaceship that she's never seen before. And, she's just had an extensive history with working with alien technology and making better technology herself from that and with that. So I think it's very consistent with her, obviously. It's not a hard thing to be consistent about. Just it was nice to see. And her bossing around Kibito like that was pretty great. There was even a hint at Kibito's slight distaste for mortals. Not like anything like Zamasu, but if you watch Z, Kibito just kind of underwhelmed his impression of mortals at all points, because, when Gohan lifted the Z-Sword, he was like, nah, a mortal can't do that. And what does Gohan do? He lifts it. One thing I want to also say is that I hope that we get to see more of Goku needing to adjust to his child body, because it makes sense for Goku's character that in the first 20 minutes of the show where he's adjusting to his body, that he'd be like, alright, I gotta get used to this so I can be back to tip-top shape. But also, I want to see Goku struggle. I don't want him going Super Saiyan soon. I think he needs to, not earn it per se, because, he's earned it, but, he needs to relearn his body, like he was saying with the distance thing. It's a whole another experience for him being a kid again, and he just needs to get used to that body and get used to the feeling and how his ki works and how he can channel it, all that. So hopefully we're not going to see anything too flashy yet, and it's just going to be kind of back to the fundamentals. If they want to, I would hope that they would throw in a quick Master Roshi-esque training session in the Demon Realm, so that Goku, maybe they're like, oh, this is how we can hone your body even more, or they have a particular solution to that. So yeah, it would be cool. I hope that they keep with that and they don't just make him overpowered soon. Yeah, I'm hoping that goes that way. I mentioned GT earlier. I wanted to bring that back up. GT is definitely, out the window. I've known that since Super, that, GT is no longer going to be happening, even though people are going to say, oh, GT happened Z, you never know, it could happen. It's just not. The fact that Omega Shenron and the Dragon Balls were gathered from the negative energy of the wishes, that idea just isn't showing up at all. And the only time Elder Kai's really mentioned that it's a bad thing was when he was saying that it changes reality, I believe, and stuff like that. He never once mentioned the negative effects. That was a GT only idea. And with Shenron being like, oh yeah, the regulars get a bonus and you're just a new guy, when the new Demon King came and made the wishes. It's just consistent with the fact that GT was probably a source of some inspiration for Daima in some of the core ideas, but not in the whole entire story or the plot or where the series is going. GT is fun. I love it. I rewatched the last episode recently and it got me emotional because that ending was really great, because back then we all thought Dragon Ball was ending. So yeah, I'm not dunking on GT, but I want to reiterate to people who really do think that GT is still alive. It's alive in side projects, but not in the main story. And I also want to speak to a certain crowd of Dragon Ball fans who think that Daima's bad, and because it's too cutesy and it's not oiled up muscly guys screaming at each other and punching each other. That's not always what Dragon Ball has been, and even when it is that, it's still got the original elements Toriyama put in there. Dragon Ball has always been more than just fighting, and people forget to look past that. So if you're going to judge Daima because it's a cute adventure with fighting and all other things that isn't just typical muscle-bound Dragon Ball, please just give it a chance, and remember what original Dragon Ball was, and remember how Toriyama likes to write, and how Toriyama is as a writer and as a person. Because it is more than just muscles and punching and screaming. So I'm going to end this with one more thought, is that I'm glad we're getting a few episodes, probably, maybe one, maybe a few, of just Goku, Supreme Kai, and then the new demon guy who looks like Mira from Dragon Ball Online / Xenoverse / everything else that he showed up in. Because, it's nice to get some time with the, Goku was the main character, which we had plenty of time with, but, it's a new dynamic, and we get to see how Goku will react in this situation without people he knows. Well, he knows Supreme Kai, but he doesn't know him well. And, it's going to be, I'm going to enjoy it, I think. And then Vegeta and probably one or two other characters might tag along later. So that's that, and I'll see you guys next week for the next episode. Hello everyone, this is Mr. Jodrick, and we're back for episode 3 review of Dragon Ball Daima. We finally entered the Demon Realm, and so far it's a lot of fun. We got a little more information on how people get to and from the Demon Realm. The big fish-looking guy is known as Sama, and he has relay points at certain planets to let people in and out. They also have to apparently be from the Demon Realm. As a side note, I really love the little magic trick that Supreme Kai did on Goku to make his ears look pointy. But back to the relay points. We already knew that there were multiple levels of the Demon Realm, and it was interesting to see that only certain people can access certain different layers. I'm also wondering what all the other hatches lead to. Are they gateways to different universes? Timelines? What are they? I'm sticking with the theory that this Demon Realm is accessible by only people from Universe 6 and 7, because those were the two universes mentioned in the first episode. It could be completely impossible that the Demon Realm is accessible by anyone from any of the universes, but to me that just doesn't make sense, especially if each Demon Realm is supposed to have its own Supreme Kai. I believe they're called Mokaioshins, and each not Demon Realm, like Universe 6 and 7, is supposed to have their own regular Supreme Kais. It just wouldn't make sense if each single Supreme Kai from every single universe and each single Mokaiyoshin from every single universe. It would make more sense to me if they all had their own Demon Realms. Supreme Kai is clearly not trusting of Glorio, and it's quite clear that he seems to be hiding something. My guess is that the third king of the Demon Realm may be wanting Goma to be dead in order to take over. Maybe that's a little too insidious, maybe it's something a little more lighthearted, but there's definitely something he doesn't want to say because he was very vague about things when Supreme Kai was talking to him. That young Demon Realm girl, she looks like she's going to be a big part of this. I'm guessing since the ship was stolen, they're going to need some kind of guide to the Demon Realm, and it can't be just Glorio, so she'll probably be that guide if I had to guess. I'm also guessing she'll be a foil to Glorio, being one of the few, if only, wholesome characters in the Demon Realm. That's just my guess, I could be very wrong. She could be more like a Chilai who's a thief, but she's got a good heart. I don't get the evil vibe from her, but you never know, we'll find out. It was interesting hearing Supreme Kai talk about being in the Demon Realm, specifically how he was in the second world. It bugs me how it's implied that the Kais are from there as well, because, I don't know, like I said in the last episode, the Supreme Kais and the Kaioshins and all that, they're all supposed to be from the Kaiju tree, and their origin seems to be getting changed or Toriyama forgot. Honestly, it was never introduced into canon really, it was just things in guidebooks, I believe, in other interviews maybe, but I would really like to keep the consistency, but if that's how it's going to be, that's what it's going to be. It's not a big deal, it's just this is the way that I've thought about it this whole time, that they don't have gender per se, that they're just beings. They don't have romantic attractions until the Supreme Kai of Time from Xenoverse changed that with Bardock's, and now they have brothers and sisters, which, I mean, again, if they come from, if plants having fruits that break off from each other, maybe brothers and sisters could be if they came from the same, like, little fruit plant thing and on the tree. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's kind of like, seems like it's changing from what Toriyama's original. There's also the chance that the Kaiju tree is from the Demon Realm and in the Demon Realm, which is possible. It's not the way I would have thought about it, because there was always supposed to be a separation between the Kaioshin and the Mokaiyoshin, but, you know, we'll see. Now on to the actual Demon Realm itself. It's quite interesting to see how it all works. The floating islands, it seems just kind of like earthy, like Goku noticed, but like with a little bit more of a touch of like what other alien worlds might look like, with floating islands from like Pandora and Avatar and such like that. The volcanoes that spew the gas feels like it was artificial. There's a lot of things in there that seem like it's been changed and the demon realm's been altered over the years, from the gates to the volcanoes. The volcanoes could be natural, but I have a feeling that they're not. They're also very clearly a plot device for Goku. He has to adjust to his child body, and now this is a yet another hindrance for him. So he's not going to be operating at his full capacity at 100%. So when he comes against a challenge, a real challenge, not just a bar fight, he's going to have to really struggle, which I'm fine with because he's Goku. What other anime needs to nerf their protagonist this badly in order to give other evil bad guys a chance? If this was Earth and he was on full power, he'd just go Super Saiyan 3 and knock their asses out. But the gas is also important. Another important thing to notice, since this series has started, we haven't seen Goku transform, especially while he's in his child body. He has not used any ki in his child body besides flying, like no blasts, no instant transmission, no advanced techniques, no transformations yet. I'm going to guess they're taking a page out of GT's handbook, and that Goku as a child, or in his miniature body, whatever you want to call it, is unable to properly regulate his ki, and they haven't shown him using it yet because when he first does, he's probably going to struggle and probably not going to do it right, or something like that, and they're going to explain it that the gas is inhibiting him on top of him not knowing his child body. They're setting up these barriers for Goku to overcome, and I really like that as a progression for the story. I feel like at first, Goku might whip out Super Saiyan and the Kamehameha for a finishing attack, or it's like the big culmination of one of the early battles of the series, because it's going to be like, 26 episodes? So he's going to slowly be progressing. I've heard people talk about whether or not there's going to be a new form for this show, whether it's a demon form for one of the other characters, or Goku gets a temporary form in the Daima realm. I really hope not, personally. We have enough forms up the butt, and it also doesn't make sense because this takes place after Majin Buu, but before Super. So if this form exists, there's absolutely no mention of it. There's also no mention of this adventure at all, period. So maybe it was a mind wipe, or it was just such a short adventure, and it was such a short little fun thing for the gang that it didn't matter. But Goku's also prone to forget things, like when Frieza was brought up after so many years, he's like, oh yeah, Frieza? I forgot about him. He didn't forget, but it had just been many years, so we'll see. One thing I'm not quite adjusted to yet is that Goku, yes, he's in a child's body. In my opinion, he seems to be acting a little bit more childlike than his normal self. I could be wrong, I could be looking into it. I don't hate it, I'm just not used to it. He's not really that serious. He's a nonchalant character, but I've heard people say that Super undid some of Goku's character progression as being an adult and being mature. Obviously, he's always been aloof and a fun guy, but he's even more leaning to the childish stuff now, and that might be an effect of the wish, or maybe it's just the writing. I'm just going to need time to adjust to it again, because it really is like Toriyama just started Goku from where he was in Dragon Ball. That being said, he clearly can still kick ass like Goku does. The bar fight was great. I love the idea of our first Dragon Ball bar fight. That whole entire scene reminded me something you had see out of a D&D episode of a medieval anime like a Skeleton Knight or Overlord, any of that stuff. It was just really fun. I really love the gringiness of the Demon Realm that they're starting to now show, that all the characters are just all the residents of the Demon Realm are just these not great people for different reasons. You got the people with the bow and arrows earlier that was attacking, now you got these scum at the bar fights who then went on to steal the ship. It's compelling because we're seeing a side of Dragon Ball we haven't really seen before. We have with the dude who killed the dog and all these other things, but these are real true demons, I think, and I like it. And on a side note, I really want to know what those burgers are made of, the hamburgers that were in the bar. First off, Goku seemed to love them, but when a bartender was like, you don't want to know what's in them, I just cracked up at that. And, I hope someone else out there tries to visually recreate what the burgers look like, the hamburgers. It's weird that they call them hamburgers, not cheeseburgers, but maybe there wasn't any cheese. I thought I saw cheese, whatever. Yeah. Also confirmation, Goku likes hamburgers. I don't know if we've ever had that before. Quite fun. The topic of Goku and food, the whole farting thing was kind of funny because he actually, for once, seemed bashful about something that he did, where when he farted and they were like, oh, it smells worse than the gas in here now, or something like that. And first off, it's kind of hilarious with all the food that Goku eats, that of course his farts would be the worst thing ever, but it's funny. I love it. It's a small detail that I really love because Saiyans just put in all kinds of food into their body, and for them to be as bad as a gas that makes the atmosphere thicker, maybe it's like a sulfur smell. I don't know why I'm spending so much time thinking about what Goku's farts smell like, but it's kind of funny. Let's be honest. Anyway, they left us in an interesting place for Goku and Co. to be stranded in the Demon Realm, and I'm guessing we're going to be meeting that girl character soon. So, yeah, we'll stay tuned, and next week we'll talk about episode 4.
Hey guys, Mr. Jodrick here, and we're going to review Dragon Ball Daima Episode 4. Picking up where we left off, with the group losing their ship to the bandits they fought in the bar, I'm a big fan of them not being able to just fly around willy-nilly. The restrictions the Demon Realm puts on the body is interesting. Goku being Goku is trained in high gravity, but apparently this is different. I'm guessing the thickness of the air is a constant thing that you can't get used to, unlike weight training. Now, I know that technically doesn't make sense, but you could say that the Daemon Realm is magic, and that's why they can't get used to it and fly for extended periods of time. Even someone like Glorio, who's lived there his whole life. I did think it was funny when Supreme Kai got all flustered when it was coming to talking about his fighting ability. We haven't really seen him fight too much, or maybe not at all, I don't remember, it's been a minute, but like, he's way stronger than Frieza. I don't even know if they gave a power level for him officially. Probably in a guidebook, and if they do, I'll pop that on the screen. But, he's not a pushover. People like to think he is because he's never done anything, but don't forget, he is the Supreme Kai of Universe 7. He's pretty strong, comparatively speaking to the mortals. Goku and his friends are like freaks of nature compared to most people in the universe. Speaking of Goku, it's interesting to see that as someone from the outside world, he can use Ki, and Glorio doesn't even know what Ki is. That kind of possibly limits what can be done in the Demon Realm as far as fighting. At least Ki-wise, you won't be seeing crazy Ki Blast. Goku will probably let one rip whenever he figures out how to do it again. But it's interesting to see that there isn't, that we know of yet, any Ki. I'm guessing that they supplement with magic instead. We'll find out. Demon Realm seems like an interesting place to live, and interesting culture that's really definitely cut off from the rest of the universe. Obviously it is, it was meant to be that way. And the thing that everyone's probably talking about right now, these bugs, especially the 2 fusion bugs, the little green ones. I'm guessing, they could take the easy route when Vegeta gets there and they'll do another Vegeta fusion. I don't know, maybe. We don't know the rules of this yet, but I would be more interested to see Goku and Glorio fuse. That might be a hot take, don't know, but I think his knowledge of the Demon Realm with Goku's power, that would be pretty great. I don't know how well it would come into play, if he knows any magic. Maybe him and someone with more magic. It's probably going to be Goku, let's be real. But, it's a cool thing to have. It might be broken, it might be bad for the story in the future, or it might be good. We'll find out. Because you never know. It might not be a fighting-based fusion. Of course it's going to be because it says strength-based, but Toriyama has, I believe, said that fusion comes in different varieties and that does different things, if I remember correctly. So, we'll see. I'm also not a fan of bugs like the Supreme Kai, but it's good to know that they have their own medicines and things. I can totally see these becoming items in video games and stuff like that in the future. And now to the flying through the sky scene with a seed drop pod thing, whatever. I really love this because it felt really, really like the classic whimsical Dragon Ball. This whole series obviously is giving that, but they're just putting a lot of fun and real time into the characters having a good time. And that doesn't always advance the plot, and obviously this was a step backward because we find out later they want to go in the opposite direction for the Dragon Balls, which I will talk about more. But I don't know, it's good to just see that it's not just, what people think Dragon Ball is, and this is what it really is. It's a fun adventure. And now it's a fun adventure looking for the Dragon Balls as well as saving Dende. Speaking of the Dragon Balls, it's going to be really fun seeing these guys fight Goku, and what the original dragon looks like, what its name is, what its possible wish limitations are, if there are any, if there's any kind of dark magic associated with it that changes the rules, because, like they said, the Earth Dragon is white magic and this is black magic, I believe. So there's probably going to be significant differences, so it'll be fun. Not only that, but I think the fights are going to be great. We've gotten skirmishes here and there between Goku and these secret police, was it? and the bar fight, and just the random people who show up to quickly fight. And the animation is just really great for these small little quick skirmishes. So like I can only imagine what it's gonna look like when we see Goku face off against the first of the three dudes. I can't remember the name of the guys that guard the Dragon Balls. It's just going to be great. I can expect some really, really good fighting animation because it's already really good to look at. But it's only going to get better because this is polished as hell. And they're going to pull out all the stops, I'm betting, for the bigger fights that are plot heavy. It was definitely interesting seeing that the Demon King's secret police are collecting life energy and the gold, obviously. You can't forget the money because, rich people can always need to be richer. But the life energy is what I've got interested about. I'm wondering what they use it for. Do they use it to keep the king himself young, or is this him delivering on his promise to the Namekian that he'd give him more age by stealing age from the population who don't comply to the taxes, and then giving it to that Namek? We'll see. It's either going to be, my guess is, for the king, for the Namek, maybe even for a secret side project that Dr. Arinsu is making. Could be like a hell type of creature, maybe Janemba-like, not exactly Janemba, but who knows. I had that conversation with some friends a few days ago that it'd be cool if they introduced Janemba as a canon like demon thing, but like not with some more nuance and some better things than just a guy who goes raw and makes a sword. But yeah, we'll see what they do with the aging thing, or if they do anything at all. It could be literally just a plot device to make you feel for the characters who live in the demon realm and for Goku to step up and be Goku. And that's where this girl comes in. I had a feeling we were going to see her this episode. I don't know if it's because it was a preview in the last episode, probably, but like, I don't know. I knew she was going to get introduced soon because she's probably going to help be a guide and some other things. Glorio's, being a guide and teaching them about the demon realm, but she is going to be the spunky character that's, like I said before, probably a foil to Glorio, and she's already shaping up to be that way. I could be very wrong, but just the fact that she's confronting them on her own after this, she's going to be like, who are you, what are you doing? And I'm betting she's going to say something along the lines of, most people don't help others in the demon realm. Not many people stand up and do what's right. Which is something she would probably say. I'm guessing. This is just me based off of what I know about Toriyama and what she's already been doing. That's just my gut feeling. She's obviously going to be a key part of the story. I believe the opening showed her and Bulma together, like playing or partying or whatever. Maybe she's like an inventor in the demon realm who is also a champion for justice. I don't know. Could be reaching with those. But I don't know. It'll be fun. Overall, it was this really solid episode. The pacing is nice. It feels like they slow down at moments, and it's nice. It's not too slow. You're getting some exposition, and then you got the intense, quick fights that pull those together, and then it brings you back to the slow moments where you feel like you're going at a good pace and things are progressing. This part of the series is going to be probably the slowest in the beginning, where they're learning all the rules to the demon realm, gathering their party, and then it'll probably pick up when Bulma and Vegeta and all them show up however they do, because, they don't have the password to get through the fish dude. And then they'll start making their way to the other parts of the demon realm. I don't know if Vegeta and Bulma and all them will show up in this part of the demon realm. I'm guessing probably not. Goku will beat the first guy and be like, yeah, it took everything I had. And then the second guy, Vegeta, will be like, well, I want to crack at him and get that other Dragon Ball. But you never know. We'll see. I'll see you guys for next week's episode review. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This week, we're doing a recap of Dragon Ball Daima episodes 5, 6, and 7. If you've poked around my channel, you'll see that these reviews for some reason got corrupted or something was wrong with the file when I uploaded, and there's only partial segments. So what I did is I went back, rewatched episodes 5, 6, and 7, tried to forget everything I saw after these episodes and re-review, just because I'm a completionist. Alright, let's start with episode 5. In this episode, Pansy is introduced. I believe she's the demon realm equivalent of Bulma in this world. We learn from her that most, if not all, Majins know magic, and they have their own magical specialties. She's also very unfamiliar with Ki, and it's something she gets confused with magic. This is huge, because it means Ki is not something common in the demon realm if it's there at all. This relates to the Buu saga, because Majin Buu probably didn't use Ki at all, or at least mainly uses magic, as he came from the demon realm. We later find out that Pansy is a princess, and her father is the king of the third demon realm. He seems like a good king and not an evil ruler like King Goma. Goku shows off his strength to them and even goes Super Saiyan for a brief moment to flex his power against all the king's soldiers. This was cool, but definitely not something he needed to do to win. I remember in my initial review not hating seeing Super Saiyan, but wishing there were more restraints on his power in general. I've changed my opinion on this since then, but I'm not going to get into that now. The episode then ends with them setting off in their plane and for this grand adventure for the four of them to begin. Episode number 6, Lightning. As Goku, Glorio, Shin, and Pansy set out, Shin gives some info on his siblings, Arinsu and Degisu, and on his race. However, as night falls, the trio have to make camp in a cave, and a monster, which is shown to be a Minotaur, shows up. I love seeing this because the Minotaur is reminiscent of opponents in games Toriyama made, such as in Blue Dragon. He wants what most evil creatures would want. He wants to eat them all. Goku and Glorio have a short argument over who can take it down, which turns into a quick brawl between the two. Glorio shows off his lightning magic, and Goku is able to dodge all of it and fight back. In true Goku fashion, he turns Super Saiyan and waits for Glorio to charge his ultimate attack. And like in the last episode, Goku decides to flex his power by straight up punching his full power magic beam and dissolves it into nothing. I want you guys to fully understand the gravity of what that means. Goku shows up to the demon realm, which is separated physically, culturally, and even magically from the rest of the universe. He is introduced to their source of power and energy in the magic that they use, and then he can literally just punch through it. Goku is so strong he can break magic with his fists. No fancy technique or counter magic. Imagine you write a series and some stranger comes to that world and is able to reduce their power that is foreign to his own to nothing. That's Goku. And people wonder why Goku is said to be one of the strongest characters in all of anime. He punches through magic. He can move through frozen time in Dragon Ball Super. He is stupidly broken. This episode ends with the fight peacefully concluded and Bulma and her gang attempting and failing to get to the demon realm with Shin's old ship. The king of the third demon world sends Hybis to bring Bulma and the gang to the demon realm. And again, the Gendy Marie get their butts kicked by Shin and Goku and Glorio, and then Shin decides to tell us his name, Nahare. We also learn that the Majin are tracked via these nearly unbreakable collars, but they're only nearly unbreakable as Shin himself can use his godly magic to break them. Bulma, Vegeta, and Piccolo all arrive in the demon realm at the end, as Goku then prepares to fight Tamagami number 3. So yeah, episodes 5, 6, and 7 were great setting up what's to come. I'm sorry this episode was shorter, but I didn't really want to go crazy reviewing all 3 episodes at once, and I wanted to make it short and sweet so that I could later throw it into a longer compilation video in the future. We should be back with normal reviews next week as the break for Dragon Ball Daima will end. See you guys then. Hey guys, we're back for episode 8 of Dragon Ball Daima review. I'm gonna be honest, this episode completely sold me. Not that Daima wasn't great already, but like, just wow, there was so much to unpack. First and foremost, the Tamagami fight. Beautiful. Levels of animation we haven't seen since Broly. Like, Super was good, some of the fights in Super was amazing, but like, geez, like, it was stunning, it was breathtaking, it was fluid, it didn't stop. It was like 7 minutes, 6 or 7 minutes of just pure wow. Like, I can't even, when Goku used his power pull in between the two rocks, when it was just, the Kamehameha struggle was good, the noble ending, just the camaraderie between the two, and just the pure fighting talent. Like, Super Saiyan was totally awesome. Like, it felt good again. It felt like Namek almost. Like, obviously not, but it channeled that feeling of like Super Saiyan being important again. It was just, I can't even, might be one of my favorite fights in all of Dragon Ball now. I'm not even just saying that because of recency bias. It was just really, like, from a beauty standpoint, not just from like a plot wise, it was just a spectacle. I want to watch that fight over and over again. Just wow. The immediate aftermath of that fight with the Tamagami playing the ball and the cups game, that was pretty fun. I enjoyed the final test of wits and the test of strength to make sure you're truly worthy of a Dragon Ball. It just well written. And then after that, with finding out that Arinsu was lurking around in the Majin Buu saga and collected a piece of Buu, just really cementing Daima into the core lore of Dragon Ball now. That was like, what? she was there, and it was great. I can't. I was like, what are they doing with this? She's doing something with this. She's got some experiment. 2 seconds later, you meet what was her name? Marba, the witch who supposedly freaking made Majin Buu, which is mind blowing. That it was always kind of assumed that it was Bibbidi, because I thought when I was first watching the episode that they got it wrong. That they said Bobbidi was the one who made Buu. I'm like, nah, Bobbidi is the son of Bibbidi, and most people don't know that. Well, okay, so good Dragon Ball fans know that, but I'd wager that a bunch of regular Dragon Ball fans who don't go past some of the surface level don't know about Bibbidi because he never actually truly showed up. But whatever. Point is, she is alive, and she's the one who made Buu. And now that Rinsu gave her a piece of Buu to make a new one, oh man, I can only imagine it's gonna be probably the the final boss of the series, maybe, if not mid-season boss. There's gonna be 25 episodes. But wow, this episode, between the fights, the lore, and something I loved, when Goku beat the cup game and got the Dragon Ball, the crowd cheering was just so pure and wholesome. Even Glorio acknowledged Goku. It was such a touching moment that it really it stirred emotions in me that made me feel happy, bliss. It reminded me how much I love Dragon Ball and how much I love the stories and the way Toriyama tells these things and all of it. This is just Daima is cementing itself as a quintessential Dragon Ball series. Before, we used to thought it was just going to be a limited web series, but this is so much more, and I'm so happy we're getting it, and it is so beautiful. Wow, I can't. I've been speechless like this in a while. Maybe I'm just nerding out too much, but just everything is falling into place, and I can't. I thought I could tell where this series is going, but now they're actually throwing curveballs, and I can speculate, but I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see what comes, and it's not going to be just the predictableness that I expected. Goku Black Saga, very, very predictable. To the Tournament of Destroyers. The only thing that wasn't predictable was the end where Goku and Hit decided to, go against the gods of destruction and not be controlled. And then the Tournament of Power, predictable. The only thing I didn't see coming was Frieza actually being a team player. He still was Frieza, but he actually cared about Universe 7, or at least himself, enough to do things. But Daima is so different. It is fun, it is goofy, it is cute, it is action-packed, and it is changing. There's lore in every episode that's slowly building, and there's now big lore like this. Not saying there hasn't been big lore before, it's so Toriyama, and I love it. And man, do I miss Toriyama, because after Daima, we will probably never get something like this again. Maybe Toyotaro can pull something out, but I don't know. I can't wait for this series to keep going. I can't wait for next week. I genuinely am filled with so much joy watching this show, and I hope you guys are too. It's not really so much for next week to talk about. I'm guessing next week's episode is going to be Goku and Vegeta and all them finally catch up to each other. They go to the second Demon Realm, and they start looking for the Dragon Ball, and we'll find out more about Glorio and Arinsu. My guess is that Arinsu's goal, she already said she wants to be king of the Demon Realm, but I really think that there's a better reason for it than just power. It could be just power and she's going to be a villain. I see it as she's going to either do it to be a villain and to take over and to run things the way she wants to, and maybe even invade the regular world, the regular universe, in using Demon Realm magic and power. Or she's looking to subvert, and she's actually a secret ally of Goku and company. I'm not too sure about that. Or there's a third option that I'm not guessing. I'm hoping it's that, because those two are kind of generic. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how much more surprised we get, because I can see that we're getting wicked surprised with just this. We're on episode 7, and they're throwing curveballs like this already. I can't wait. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna stop rambling and just gushing about the series now. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Daima review. Last week was the battle between Goku and the Tamagami, as well as getting the Dragon Ball, and moving on to trying to find the second one. They obviously have no idea what's going on with Arinsu and her new creation that we will be discussing quite soon. But before we get to any of that, I'm sure you all noticed there's a brand new opening, and I love it. It's great. It's showing now that like we're on episode 9. We're probably roughly at half of the series or close to it. I don't remember if it was officially stated which one it was or if it ever was at all, but I'm guessing we're at the halfway point, which is why we're meeting our so-called big bad. I think there is more to be revealed because we've been getting crazy stuff being revealed left and right that we don't expect, so we'll see. But halfway point, in my opinion, we're doing really good. Another thing I wanted to add is that when Goku came out of the shower and he was wearing the clothes that Pansy gave him, it was just adorable. I loved seeing Goku in casual clothes because, you know, we never get to see that. Not only that, but he reminded me so much of Goten. I just love the art direction this series is going and how we're seeing things that we don't usually get to see, even if it's just little things like that. It kind of reminds us that Goku's like a normal person, just like everyone else, when he's not fighting super bad people. Because they always dress him in his gi or in his farmer outfit. When was the last time we got to see Goku just kind of chilling? Besides in like the driving school episode. One big thing I really want to focus on is just the animation that this show has had. For example, Vegeta having that small squabble in the bar, which was a great parallel to how Goku and his friends had that squabble in their bar. But the thing that was great was the actual setting and the lighting and the way it was animated with the neon lights and it being more of an adult thing because, you know, we've got Bulma, Vegeta, and Piccolo who are the serious characters and treated like more of real adults even though they're kids, well, kid bodies in this. And it was just, the ambience was great. It kind of reminded me of that party scene at the end of Dragon Ball Z with the flashing lights, even though that was kind of not the best animation and the cheesy music and the dub. Anyways, this was totally different. It was nice to look at. The light reflections were beautiful. It was just so good, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to talk about that. And then later on, we get Vegeta fighting all those same guys again, plus some new guys, with Piccolo assisting. And the attention to detail with Vegeta fighting was amazing. You can really see how differently he fights from Goku, and how like precise and hard he hits. It's not that Goku doesn't hit hard, it's just that Vegeta does not hold back. He does not have any semblance of holding back. He's just like, I want to get this done. I want to enjoy the fight a bit, but like he doesn't like take his time like Goku does. I mean, sometimes he does, depending on the situation, but you know what I mean. And then they, of course, all meet up, and it's cool, and then Vegeta's all steamed that Goku found a Dragon Ball and is probably going to go get the next one. He probably wants a good fight and to take on one of these Tamagamis. So yeah. Another thing I want to call attention to is that they made sure to call attention to Hybis finding a strange eye on a mountain and it freaking out Bulma. He also really liked the zombies and like really was wanted to go fight zombies. So good on him, I guess, if for loving zombies. Maybe there was something there that like maybe it was just Toriyama loving the zombies joke because he's done like zombies before, I think. Anyways, the main point is that he has this eye on his belt. And a few episodes back, I believe we had Goma mention a evil third eye that could grant him power, and other things like that were super strong and all that really goated item. And what if it's that Hybis actually found this evil third eye? I believe it might have looked differently in the image that it showed, but you know, it was just an illustration of what Goma probably thought it looked like. This could be the actual eye on his belt, him not knowing what it does, and it could come into use later on. And then in the same exact episode, Goma brings up the eye again. I don't think these are coincidences. I believe they're setting this up to be something. Now, they could also just be doing this exactly so that I'm doing what they want me to do, speculating and totally being wrong later, or it could be it. We'll see. And of course, the part that everybody's going to be talking about, Cybermen. No, I'm kidding, but you know, Cybermen are. It's cool to see that they are from the demon realm and that they were made it outside to the universe, even though I think originally in Dragon Ball Z, the anime, it said that they were cultivated by a plant, which, you know, makes sense because they're still planted, and then modified, but, you know, it's okay for Toriyama to retcon something like this, especially since, A, it's his series, and B, when was the last time anyone cared about a Cyberman? The last Cyberman we really saw was in the manga. At that time I got reincarnated as Yamcha, but, like, that's not canon, but, like, you know, Cybermen are Cybermen, no one really cares about them too much, unless I'm offending that one Cybermen fan. But the lore of the Cybermen have a big role in this episode. Not only are they from the demon realm, but they're also now responsible for the new big bad of this series, or at least that's what I'm assuming it's going to be, Majin Ku. Now, name aside, we finally got introduced into that new character that's probably going to be the biggest thorn for all of these characters, and probably what's going to force a fusion between either Goku and Vegeta with the bug, or maybe Goku and Shin, like I said a few episodes ago. I've seen someone post an animation on this, and I really liked it. I'll probably put it in the video right here, and credit to the artist that I'll be putting on screen. Majin Ku is probably going to be super strong. He's either going to be stronger than Kid Buu, the original Kid Buu, not, well, technically, stronger than Kid Buu, or he'll be just a little bit weaker, but with the trade-off of being able to have complete control and be submissive to Dr. Rinsu. And I think the Cybermen portion made it not only submissive because Cybermen, listen to the people who they plant and they're warriors for those people, but also because the Cybermen, I believe, the better the soil, the stronger the creature comes out. And this Cyberman seed was planted in like a magical Majin Buu soil, or Daima Majin Buu mixture soil with other stuff, whatever, that, is going to make it stronger than what a normal Cyberman would be. So Majin Ku, if they explain that he's way stronger than Buu, or a good deal stronger than Buu, makes sense to me considering the things that they lined up to make it happen. It's also interesting to see that he has a full intelligence, or at least I think he does, because he responded to the request by Rinsu, and he spoke. And he didn't go crazy like the Buu being like beating his chest and be like, ah, or whatever. Sorry for my horrible Buu impression. How he looks is going to get some taking used to. I don't hate it, but I don't love it. It's just kind of in the middle. But with Toriyama, how he did with like Frieza and Cell, their first forms weren't pretty. They were their first forms. And then the second form, they get a little more refined, and like it gets more intense as it goes on. And Toriyama's done this before. And maybe the same thing will happen with Ku, or maybe he won't transform at all. If he doesn't, I'm okay with that. If he does, that's cool. He might also absorb people like, Buu did, or he might not. With Ku, they have the ability to go anywhere with it, give him any kind of power, maybe some acid-based power, because I'm pretty sure the Cybermen had that attack where they split their head open and shoot acid. Maybe that was anime only, I'm not sure. But Ku seems like an interesting concept, and they could really take him far, and I kind of don't want him to die, but, he probably will, because Daima doesn't exist, quote-unquote, within Super's timeline. Like, I mean, it does. Daima's not relevant to Super or anything modern in the canon, because, like, it probably was just a contained adventure in the Demon Realm. That being said, there's also the potential for Taro, who's currently making the manga that's been delayed for months because of Toriyama's passing, of course. He could be taking the behind-the-scenes stuff from Daima that he could be getting before the episodes come out, and adapting that into a future Super manga chapter. So we could have some Daima content filtering into Super that way, like Ku, or something else demon related. But yeah, I think this is really great, and I'm excited again for the next episode, and it's just amazing week by week progression. But yeah, all around again, another great episode, beautiful animation, interesting new villain. We'll see where it goes, and I'll catch you guys next week for the next episode. Ciao. Hey guys, welcome back to Dragon Ball Daima review. This time, episode 10. Yet again, Toriyama and Daima shows us how much fun Dragon Ball can be, and the silliness and the goofiness, but also the serious dark side. This episode has both, and I kind of love it for it. We're going to start today with what we ended on last time, Majin Ku. Personally, I find him funny, and how he moves is great. His personality's fun, especially the singing comments, and just all the other little things that makes him his own character, not just a Buu clone, even though technically he kind of is a Buu clone. I also may have severely overhyped him as a bigger threat than I thought. However, he did survive to tell the tale fighting the Tamagami. Maybe he will have more development and tweaks by Dr. Arinsu. Speaking of his fight with the Tamagami, it was quick and yet entertaining. It was clear that the power difference between the two wasn't absolutely overwhelming, but it was enough that Ku could not beat him, no matter how hard he tried. I'm assuming since that he was literally newly born into this world, we haven't seen much that makes him unique, as what we did see was kind of generic for Dragon Ball fights. I'd say that he fought like a reined-in Kid Buu without the stretchy powers, which makes sense because that's exactly what she kind of wanted. I wonder if he will discover new things about his body from both the Cyberman side and the Boo side. This could be things such as the acid thing from his head that I mentioned in the last episode, or regeneration or absorption, or any of the other things Boo can do. On to his opponent, Tamagami number 1 was cool. A lot more stoic than number 3. Seems to be all seriousness and no playing games. But I believe number 3 also came off that way at first, so who knows? When the guard showed up, he didn't pipe up and tell them anything, so he clearly is minding his own business and only cares about challengers to the Dragon Ball. Speaking of Dragon Ball, we should really just call this series Dragon Ball Lore instead of Daima, cause damn, every week we're getting new huge lore drops, and this week was no exception. If anyone had any lingering doubts of Daima not only being canon, but also directly connected to Super, this episode blows away those thoughts even more than when the other universes were casually mentioned episodes ago. The Demon Realm used to have a good Supreme Demon Realm King, and he looks amazing. He has the authority, regality, and attitude you'd expect of a strong magical king. Not only that, but he is responsible for the creation of the universe outside of the Demon Realm. Just how powerful was he if he was ordering the Super Majin Remus around like that? Remus is very clearly the same race as Grand Zeno. I've seen some people online speculate that Remus is responsible for creation specifically, and Zeno may be his opposite, as he has only been seen destroying things. It's possible, but I think that it's more realistic that Zeno is a relative or descendant of this being who was once in charge of the universe outside the Demon Realm. This universe creation story also explains how there are Namekians in both Universe 6 and 7. Saiyans and Earthlings, however, evolved independently in these universes. The Grand Rumus is also responsible for setting up how all the universe's power structure was handled between Glins and the God of Destruction to create. We know at some point before the end of Dragon Ball there were 18 universes, but who's there to say there weren't more than all that at the beginning? Another thing I was happy about was actually seeing Abura's design instead of him just being casually mentioned, as it been in previous episodes. His design fits for what we know of him, being evil, greedy, and self-centered, and seemingly the first one to start the evil line of rulers in the Demon Realm as Dabura's father. I would put money on it that he is a child of the first Supreme Demon Realm King, and went bad somewhere along the way. It's sad to see that the Glin species are going extinct. I may be reading between the lines, but I think it may be due to rebelling against Abura. He may have done something to cause it, such as killing their trees. Sadly, this episode implies that the Kaiju tree I've referenced a few times in the past that I thought existed in the Universe 7 was retconned out of existence. Either Toriyama forgot about it or just didn't want it anymore. Changing gears to a little bit less lore heavy, the part where Vegeta was being very overprotective of Bulma like he is in Dragon Ball Super was just a treat to watch. I loved how he would not let anyone even entertain the idea of taking her away from him. And then Piccolo confirming the joke of him being into big boobs was just golden. I can't wait to hear Chris Sabat dub that scene, as he is both Vegeta and Piccolo. Vegeta has given us a good few laughs in this show. Him underestimating the Kraken in this episode and his reaction to it was definitely up there. Last but not least, I want to talk about just how much of a bad hand the Namekians were dealt. We learned that most of them were treated basically as slaves to the Demon Realm Kings. We saw this on display in the first episode, with Neva being coerced by Goma to get Earth's Dragon Balls. It's really sad to see that after escaping these conditions on their world, that they later had to deal with Frieza barging in and more or less doing the same thing to them, and then having to relocate a second time inside Universe 7. But that they likely have to put up with the same problems from evil beings in their universes as well. It's tragic that Toriyama wrote such a heartbreaking backstory for the Namekian species, especially considering that Piccolo is his favorite character. But it's also very well done. All in all, this episode delivered more laughs, more adventure, and more lore. Everything that this series has been so far, and then some. I'm gonna guess we're gonna be getting this in almost every episode. We've only had one episode that was mostly action, and that was the fight between Goku and number 3. So, I'm excited, as I've said every week, to see the next week's episode and see where this is going. I don't really have many critiques. I like it all. Majin Ku is better than everyone expected him to be, in my opinion. This is just a good-ass show. I'll see you guys next week. Peace. We're back with our Dragon Ball Daima reviews, this time episode 11. There's not too much to talk about this time. We got a little bit of explanation for why the Tamagamis were made by Neva, in his connection with the Namekian people and Piccolo. He knew Piccolo's father, Katats, which is pretty cool. I was wondering if they were going to go with the direction that Katats was the son, or should I say the child of Neva, but wasn't really said. I'm sure he would have mentioned that, but It kind of reminds me of when Vegeta and Goku meet the Saiyans from Universe 6 in the Tournament of Destroyers. That was a really cool moment to see like the different universes, even though same universe, well, not technically the same universe because like the Demon Realm's a different kind of space, but like yeah, it was cool to see them. It's their history, shared history, and how they connect to each other. Tamagamis were obviously made for protecting the Dragon Balls. We knew that. So him saying that because we knew that bad people were trying to get them in a place called the Demon Realm isn't really that surprising. The lore in this episode wasn't too crazy, but it was good. We're getting little bits and pieces again because I'm sure all the big lore dumping's probably done. Well, I mean, not probably done. We might get some more. I don't know. I can't say that for sure because I did not expect what we got already. For me, the big spectacle of this week was Majin Doo. Because now we got Majin Ku and Majin Doo. And I gotta say, I love them both for different reasons. Ku is definitely like a comedian, and I love his character for being so fun and trying to please people, but also his own character and his own wants and needs are showing through. Arinsu is kind of like a bit of a bitch, and like, wish she had some better personality, but like she's also supposed to be probably evil here. She's basically like an evil Kaioshin, so I gotta say though, Toriyama has a type, and if you look at how they draw her, you know what I mean. And it's kind of funny. Toriyama never shied away from that stuff in Dragon Ball, and it shows. But with Majin Doo, having him be way more Boo than Cyberman is definitely shown here. No duh, it's kind of obvious with his design being closer to Fat Boo. His personality also has hints of Boo because, well, for one, he supposedly has more of Majin Buu's essence in him, and the Cyberman seed was put down deeper, which implies that he can be stronger. He definitely was fighting Tamagami number 1 more effectively than Ku. It's interesting to see their relationship. Ku wants him to be his brother, but on his side, it doesn't seem as if Doo really cares. He seems to be like amicable with him. There's no outright hatred, but I don't know if we're gonna see if that brotherly relationship. And it's very clear to see what Toriyama is doing here. Ku was more Cyberman with a touch of Boo, in more of a look of Kid Boo, and Doo is more of a Fat Boo based. I like the dichotomy there. Toriyama doesn't fail, in my opinion, again. And I'm going to guess that Doo does not cut it. And either they're forced to fuse via the bugs that we saw, or Arinsu will cast some magic and they'll fuse. But that, I would guess that's where this is going. I could be very wrong. I was wrong about Ku being the big baddie of this, but I was just so excited to see like a new Majin Buu. And I'm wondering if they'll survive this series and meet up with Buu, or the fused version of them might survive the series and meet up with Boo, and like see how that interaction goes. Because if you want to get technical, they're kind of brothers to Boo, or maybe sons because they're created from him. Who knows how that relationship will work if they survive? But yeah, it's really good. I like this a lot, and I like the parallel between Vegeta fighting number 2 and Doo fighting number 1 at the same time, showing like the parallel narratives going here, and Arinsu's plot to collect the Dragon Balls, because once they get the second ball, I'm assuming Glorio's going to sneak off while everyone's sleeping and deliver the ball to Arinsu so that she can become the Demon Queen. I'm guessing Arinsu would be the type to let them all leave and go back to Earth because she no longer needs them. I could be wrong. Maybe she wants to kill them and uses Doo and Ku against them, as well as Glorio, and like it becomes a whole thing. Or maybe it's a third option, like I said earlier. We'll see. I'm leaning towards more the evil side of her because she's been showing it a lot more. Overall, pretty well-paced episode. I am getting kind of tired of seeing the inside of those ships and hearing the humming noise. I'm hoping someone can extract that humming noise and make like an ASMR for me so I can listen to it and like have some like low-key Daima music playing with it, so it's like, you know, a whole vibe to work to, because I could definitely mess with that because of how much I've heard it. Hopefully next week's episode's a bit faster. Normally I'd end the video here saying, see you guys next week for the Daima review, but we actually have something special coming right before Christmas, assuming I can get the video out on time, so you'll be seeing me a lot sooner than you expect. Peace, guys. Alright everyone, we're back this week with another episode of Dragon Ball Daima. This week, episode 12, titled True Strength. We're gonna jump right into it, full spoilers. Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. I'm gonna be honest, in my opinion, it looks insane. I love his look, and it's unique as far as Super Saiyan 3 designs are concerned. Some people say that doesn't make sense, but I can explain why I believe it does. For one, it could be Daima's stylistic choice to match up with the art style. This is a weak argument, but it's possible. However, It could also be the fact that he is in a child's body, so the hair might not grow exactly the same. If we end up seeing Goku go Super Saiyan 3 in Daima, then I believe this will cement that answer for us. As an important thing to note, I do not believe the show directly stated that this is Super Saiyan 3 when Vegeta transforms. It is rather obvious that it is Super Saiyan 3, but it's just something I remember thinking when I was watching it. If I'm wrong, I'll correct myself later or on screen now. Now as to its implementation. The fight again, like all the others in the series, was awesome. And like most Saiyans, when there is a huge power difference in their favor, they become the most disrespectful fighters, and it's great. I loved how Tamagami number 2 got a magic boost from Neva. Without this, I doubt we would have even seen Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta. Neva feeding into Tamagami 2 so that Vegeta can have a better fight was also just so great. It really shows that Neva isn't the bad guy we might have thought him to be. Or maybe he is and he's playing them fools. We'll find out. I'm quite happy that we got this form finally. Yeah, we've seen it in past non-canon materials before, but this is canon, this is real, guys. It's great. It's done in a way that works for the canon. The reason Vegeta probably hasn't used it since is that 1, he's just showing off right now, and 2, he knows its drawbacks. It's flashy, it saps stamina, which is why he does not use it, and likely opts for Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan 2 before he gets his god powers. The final reason why this form may look different from the others, and the most important one, is that Vegeta is the only Saiyan, and I'm reiterating, the only Saiyan, to reach this level by himself under non-special circumstances. Goku was dead in the other world with a heavenly body when he trained to get this, and Gotenks only got it as a fusion, who had a higher power level, a higher SL count, and a greater base level potential than both Goten and Trunks. So think about that. Vegeta is the only person who did this alive and by himself. The work he must have put into getting this form was probably insane. I've seen some people on the internet think this is stupid or unwarranted for Vegeta, but I believe him earning it himself is not only super impressive, but it also aligns with his well-established character, as he did this for both his Super Saiyan form and his Super Saiyan God form. There's not much else to say about this other than it was really funny when Vegeta showed everyone wrong that his intellect is far greater than they expected when it came to the logic problem. That whole sequence had me laughing. I'm sure it reminded me and everyone else of those elementary or middle school problems where they're like, Tom has 30 watermelons in his truck, and they're just ridiculous, but it's a math problem for the sake of math, and I just thought it was a great moment in general. They did something like that in the Super anime with Goku and counting, and it's always funny seeing these kinds of things and the real worldness happening in Dragon Ball. Now, let's cover the other half of the episode. Majin Buu. Like I said before, he is very much like Buu. His desires come first, and they must be placated before following his orders. He would not fight Tamagami number 1 without that chocolate. His dynamic with Ku is slowly growing into more of a real brotherhoodly bond, I believe. Sadly, Ku is still being overlooked by Arinsu. I imagine she will try to rid herself of him, as she seemed to only be tolerating him because he is somewhat helpful. I honestly just love these two. They're great characters. They have so much personality than just being dumb, strong guys, and I can't wait to see more. Back to Ku. He is definitely not as weak as she thinks he is. Yes, he couldn't beat number 1, but it seems like number 1 and number 2 were way stronger than 3. I'm guessing it goes 3 is the weakest, 2 is the next strongest, and 1 is the number 1, obviously. Out of all of them there, Ku was the only one seemingly able to solve the impossible math problem. This is likely due to how he was made. He was made more with intelligence in mind than power. He is more of a Cyberman with a hint of Buu. Meanwhile, Du is more of Buu, but with a hint of Cyberman. There are great parallels for each other, and I love the way that this is going. I can see a few options for them going forward. Arinsu, like I said, may try to get rid of Ku, as Du is more powerful to her. This could lead to them rebelling if he does not listen to her, as his brother is the only one who provides him support, and also chocolate. Or, if this does not occur, they continue working for her, and they may fuse when the final battle comes about. This would create a perfect combination of someone who listens and is also powerful. I think Ku and Du fusing is very likely, as it has been already hinted that we will be getting a fusion from the good guys as well. This could lead to another fusion battle, which, of course, is going to be hype as heck. It might be Goku and Vegeta fusing again into a variant of Vegeto, or some new name, I don't know, Gokuja, Go Vegeta, Vegiku, I don't know. Or maybe Piccolo will get some love and we'll see an interesting fusion with him, or with the Kai, or with anyone else. Time will tell. And of course, both of these events are being are being watched to the fear and shock of both Goma and Degasu, who are watching the events unfold that are going to ruin their plans. Of course, we are going to get some kind of reactionary action as hinted, but the pieces are finally coming together of the story. I'm not sure if we're at the end yet, but it feels like we're getting very close. Next week, I believe there is an episode break, so I'll likely use that to re-review the episodes that got corrupted on YouTube for the sake of being thorough. I'll see you guys all soon, and I hope you have a happy new year. Hey everyone, welcome back. This week we're doing Dragon Ball Daima episode 13. I do want to say sorry for the late upload. We're going to have 2 episodes this week because I had a busy weekend, so sorry about that. Anyways, this episode is a nice break from the intense plot we've had lately. The show's been really hammering down lore and new crazy stuff for the past few episodes. That being said, holy shit, the Megaths are insane. A freaking child that's not even trying, thinking that Goku is some kind of small bug, clears Super Saiyan. The power differential in this world at a base level and just the regular Dragon Ball world is insane. I want to take a moment to speculate here, as I often do on this channel. Let's assume that things happened differently. This Megath child got pissed off at Goku. He had his full attention and awareness of him, instead of just swatting him around like some kind of fly thinking that he was. If he put all of his strength and concentration into his blows, I think he could be stronger than Super Saiyan 2, because he was pretty matched with Super Saiyan 1. In just a few casual blows he traded with Super Saiyan Goku, he didn't really exert much effort and seemed to be on par with him. So what does that mean for an adult Megath? Let's assume this adult works out and is in great shape. Super Saiyan 3 would probably be absolutely smoked. That might sound crazy, but think about the muscle density and difference in strength between a child human and adult human. There's a different world of muscle strength there. Children can't do near anything adults can usually. I don't even think a full power fusion would dent an adult, especially if this adult was a warrior. And this isn't even bringing up special abilities like magic or ki, even though we know that ki isn't really in the demon realm. Just one well-trained Megath is literally stronger than any being from the Buu Saga in my opinion. The insane part about all this, that's not even the top of the food chain in the demon realm. We're told that the Gigaths are even bigger and much likely more stronger than Megaths. Granted, we don't have a clue how big the Gigaths are, but they could be as big to Megaths are to Goku. This is speculation on my part, but it makes sense because the term Giga definitely implies bigger than Mega. Power-wise, I don't even know. A Gigath child is probably God Ki level, and I'm not even sure that would be accurate. They could make Broly or Beast Gohan look like chumps. Following that line of logic, an adult warrior Gigath probably couldn't be taken down by anyone short of an angel. Dare I say maybe even the Grand Priest himself. Of course, I could be seriously overestimating here, but to me it just makes sense that the scaling gets nuts, because Dragon Ball kinda does that. It's possible that they'd be more like Beerus level, or being able to challenge Beerus level. Where Goku is right now is kind of already being able to challenge Beerus, but it's still implied that Beerus is stronger. Before Toriyama died, he didn't want Goku to really surpass Beerus, but we're almost at that peak, so if an adult Gigath came back, I wouldn't be surprised if we're around there, maybe higher, could still be Angel tier. I don't know. It's impossible to say. I wouldn't be surprised if Toyotaro uses these in the future. I mean, just look at how Goku was drawn to be grinning in this shot. He wants to fight them some more. Overall, another great episode in my opinion. It was so much fun, and now we're going to have to see them deal with the ramifications of the gate closing. Rinsu didn't seem too worried about the other Dragon Balls being stuck in the second demon world. She's clearly betting on them to all bust through that gate and get to the first demon world, where she'll reveal herself. The animation again was beautiful, and I'm hoping we can get a few more fun episodes like this before we start to get back into the serious stuff. Not that I'd be against serious stuff, but I just like the fun little breaks that we're taking. I can't wait for the climax of the series, and I'd say this show is about to wrap up pretty nicely. Apologies for the inconsistent upload schedule, but I'm doing what I can. Life's been busy. I'll see you guys in a few days. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Dragon Ball Daima, this time episode 14, Taboo. As I said last time, these reviews are going to be closer together, publishing-wise, due to how busy I was. I will say, however, I've gotten some free time coming up on Fridays when Daima releases, so hopefully I'll be able to release on the day of now, but I'm not promising that, just a hopeful idea. At Goma's castle, we get introduced to the new Gendarmerie Force. I could tell right away before they even spoke that they were going to have a similar feel to the Ginyu Force. Toriyama absolutely loves the tokusatsu trope. you don't know what tokusatsu is, it's like Power Rangers, Godzilla. Basically, it means special effects in Japanese, more or less. And it's all practical special effects that led to the funky, silly, fun monsters and heroes and all that. But honestly, the fact that there were 5 of them and that they were so casual eating sweets and chips on their first appearance was enough for me to guess correctly that they were going to be a riff on the Ginyu Force. During their introduction, we also got to see the structure of the Demon Realm. Instead of them being different worlds, so to speak, it's more like they're different areas inside of planets. There's 3 different levels: third, second, first. This was assumed but never directly confirmed until now, I believe. However, there are worlds within the worlds. Like the last episode, we had the planet of the Megaths. Now, I don't know if it's a literal planet or not. I believe it said it was. I'll double check and post a editing thing like I normally do. But I'm guessing it's like a planet within the realm because the realms of some themselves are so big. This planet that they're on is probably huge in comparison to like Earth, if that's how this all works. It could be a mixture of the idea of a planet and also like different dimensions within the layers. I don't really know. It's not explicitly stated. Anyways, back to the Gandhi Marie Force. They do seem like genuinely good people in the demon realm. We see this with how they treated Ku and Du, and even wanted to buy them lots of candy and thinking of them as children. They were even saddened by the fact that they couldn't afford all that they wanted to give them. Though this could be just setting us up to like them, so that they could later be cruel and make them seem even worse than they truly are. We know how cruel the Gendaimari are, and since they are probably at the top of that army, they may be even more cruel. I guess we will see when their fighting starts. As to how strong they are, it doesn't seem that they're that strong given that they carry heavy ammunition, but this could be an intentional misdirect that Toriyama likes to do. They could have some really out-of-pocket power or fun gimmicks. Now to the part that I saw coming. We saw the Demon Realm tunnel for the first time, and that it was magically sealed off. Obviously, they wouldn't show something that didn't matter to the plot, so I had the feeling that it was going to get busted through. In my head, I envisioned that Super Saiyan 3 Goku, or maybe even Vegeta, was going to use raw power to break through it, as Goku has already shown that enough strength can overcome magic. But I think it's better storytelling-wise to have Neva, the one who made the gates, be the one that dissipate them. He seems to be on kind of a redemption arc, even though it's not implied that he's done anything really that horrible. Side note, during all this, Goku is falling for what feels like forever after getting shocked by the gate. He starts falling at 10:44 and doesn't wake up and fly off until 13:12. That's a whole 2 minutes and 28 seconds. I know that literally nobody cares, but I did some math, and if we assume the gravity is the same as Earth's, that means he fell about 68 miles from the plane. Anyways, after this, we get an explanation that Neva is the one who sealed the 3 worlds. He did this because there were too many people bothering the Namekians, which led them to leave the Demon Realm. So it sadly looks like his gates worked, but not in time, which led to his loneliness. Based on the comments of Piccolo being such a legendary Namekian magician that nobody could really imitate, I imagine him to be like if Gandalf was stranded in Middle-earth, and everyone else in the world had gone to Valinor. Now, obviously that doesn't work if you know anything about Lord of the Rings, because, not everyone can go to Valinor, but just forgive the comparison, please. After this, the crew then fly through the tunnel, but there's too much danger and the plane can't take it, and they have to ditch the ship to get to the ground safely. We end the episode with all of them fleeing from the attacking Gendaimari. We have probably between 5 and 10 episodes left. I would guess 5 based off of how this is going, but I've been wrong before, so we'll see. I'll still be reviewing these, and I'll see you guys next week. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Dragon Ball Daima Reviews. This week, episode 15, Third Eye. First things first, I totally called it that the eye on Hybis's belt was the third eye. And what if it's that Hybis actually found this evil third eye? I believe it might have looked differently in the image that it showed, but it was just an illustration of what Goma probably thought it looked like. This could be the actual eye on his belt, him not knowing what it does, and it could come into use later on. I was wondering what they were going to do with the eye, because there was attention drawn to it subtly over this season. I feel like it was kind of useless up until now, and it wasn't really a great plot point. I am interested to see what they do with it from here on out. I get the feeling from these shots here that Degusu has the third eye, and he may try to use it to become the Demon King himself. Because just like with the Infinity Gauntlet, everyone in the Demon Realm is drawn to the position of power that is the King of the Demon Realm, and the eye would be a good way to get it. Also, did anyone else low-key think that this Toa knockoff was Degasu in disguise? He could have used magic to transform himself into a girl, thinking that that would be able to sway Hibis. It could have actually been a much younger Toa, I doubt this, or it could just be some random Manjin girl working for Degasu. Who knows, we probably won't find out. However, Hibis trading in the hat for the belt was pretty consistent with his character, but the moment did feel cheap. Maybe because the team was literally fighting against an army to storm the castle, and they just gave away a super powerful artifact. Speaking of which, I understand that the Demon Realm tech is probably better than people's like the Frieza Force, with beams that can stun you, even at Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo's level. But once Goku turned Super Saiyan, it seemed to get a lot easier. This makes plenty of sense, but it does beg the question, why didn't he do it sooner? Yeah, it's for the tension, to show the power of the army, but if they all went full power sooner, they'd smoke the whole entire army much quicker. An argument could be made that they didn't know what was coming in the castle, but I don't know, it wasn't awful for me. It wasn't the most compelling fight, outside of the fact that the Gendarmerie was actually being deadly for once. It was cool seeing Pansy's father and his army show up, and yes, they're there to help, but let's be honest, like I said earlier, they probably just want to take the throne of the Demon Realm. Now, would they make the Demon Realm a better place overall if they took over? Yes. Is that probably going to happen? Hopefully. But I don't know. I just think that, like, it's everyone, just like with the Infinity Gauntlet, it's just something everyone wants because it's power and it's status and it's everything that you could have. Though there was some moments I did greatly appreciate, like Vegeta sucking it up to eat that energy bug. I think this might lead to Vegeta and Goku fusing, as he is willing to compromise in a dire situation. Yet another Goku and Vegeta fusion instead of something interesting. Not saying it's not impossible, but that's probably where they're going with it. The other situation I liked was when Goku asked Neva if he could fix everything with magic or help them out, and Neva just said no, that he was just there to help them get their wish. This really shows that Goku isn't as dumb as people think, as he's looking outside the box for a fix to the tense situation. And last but not least, the flashback showing Dabura and Abura. Those who want power will do anything to gain it, even killing their own father, it seems to suggest. No wonder in the Buu saga Babidi had control over Dabura, when his heart and mind was just so wicked that he could do things like that. It was cool to see Dabura get actual moments of his character not being mind controlled. We didn't really get much of that. I don't think we got any of that in Dragon Ball Z, because he was only shown to be with Babidi, unless you're counting the non-canon heaven scenes, which definitely not. Funny, but no. And while we're on the topic of Dabura, that one commander guy in charge of all the forces of the Gendarmerie, did anyone else think he looked like he could be related to Dabura? Maybe that's some kind of Demon Realm racist, which, hey, sorry, but they do look alike, but they're definitely similar looking. Who knows? I doubt it. Just another demon in the Demon Realm. Anyways, I'm pretty sure we have like 5 episodes left until the show concludes. The next 3 to 4 episodes are probably going to be crazy, and the last 2 will be wrapping it up nicely and going back to the status quo. Maybe after all this there'll be a hint to see what's coming in Dragon Ball Super, because I can't imagine they just do this whole story and not have anything that leads up to it later. The Demon Realm could be back and we could get more in a Super arc. Well, we'll see. Catch you guys next week. Hey guys, welcome back to Dragon Ball Daima Reviews, episode 16, Degasu. This episode starts with Degasu kidnapping baby Dende and making a break for it. He knows his back is against the wall, and he's going to play the only card he can. It's not a very smart one, but it does show his independence nonetheless. A little bit after, we finally get to see the Gendarmerie force in action. And like I thought before, they are not strong at all. Their weapons are literally all they have. Just one big show of false power. Comparing them to the rest of the Gendarmerie, they're probably well equipped, with likely more martial arts training, but when you take that up against someone like Goku and Vegeta or Piccolo, that's not going to do anything. They are the joke version of the Ginyu Force in the Demon Realm. Vegeta single-handedly knocks most of them out, besides the 5th one, Gaimoi. He's the one who suggests the boss do his big attack at the end, but then gets messed up. It's funny that he didn't fight at all, despite him being the physically largest out of the whole group. Not that it really matters, considering Toriyama has always loved to make the short ones strong, to subvert the audience's expectation. The examples of this being Vegeta, Frieza, Kid Buu, etc., etc. From there, we surprisingly see the Toa look-alike again, and she delivers the third eye to Goma, and is able to get rich doing so. Goku and company then track down Dende and Degasu, who seems to be trying to get away with Dende for some kind of future plan. But with some quick thinking by Glorio, the baby is saved. We also see Shin, or should I say Nahari, come face to face with him, and then later on Rinsu, and he has some interesting dialogue with Degasu. After this, Degasu is seemingly carted away to Majin jail, and the gang find out that the first World Dragon Ball was already won by Rinsu and her Majin brothers. We see the episode ending with Goma getting swole as fuck from the third eye. Most of this episode was pretty safe and predictable storytelling. Honestly, it might be the most boring of the season, but in my opinion, it's okay because the whole season's been pretty darn good so far. From the look on Glorio's face when he saw Rinsu and the gang, I'm gonna guess that he can't go through with giving the Dragon Balls to Rinsu and betraying his friends. I'm guessing he sees the true goodness in all of them and wants to fight for the Demon Realm to be a truly better place, and he doesn't think Rinsu's gonna be the one that does it. He also probably figures out what I've been saying, that the throne of the Demon Realm is a corrupting lure to power. As we now have 4 episodes left, I believe the next 2 probably have the all-out crazy stuff people have been waiting for, be it a fusion, a new transformation, from the good guys or the bad guys. All I know is that I pray to God, or should I say Kami, that we don't get a temporary Super Saiyan 4 form like some people want. I have no desire for that non-canon form to be shoehorned in at the last minute. Super Saiyan 4 has its place, and that's in GT. I really don't think that's what they're going for, but it's a possibility. We'll see. Daima has been playing the story very safe so far, and will probably be doing so. Besides the lore drops, they really haven't done anything crazy. I'm sure some people complain about that, but I think this is just a fun adventure, just like it was supposed to be. Next week is probably the beginning of the true climax with the battle against the Boo brothers, and then Goku and friends, or maybe even all of the people in the Demon Realm, facing off against Goma and his third eye. But we will see. I'll see you guys next week. Hey everyone, sorry for the late upload. I had plans this weekend like the Super Bowl, so I wasn't able to jump on this as quick as normal, which is a shame because this episode was crazy. So let's get into it. This week we're tackling episode 17, Goma. The episode is aptly named because he is the star of this episode. We start out with our heroes talking to Rinsu, Majin Ku, and Du about the Dragon Balls. Rinsu wants all the Dragon Balls to become the king, in her case queen, of the Demon Realm like we knew, and they just want to turn back to normal size. She proposes that they fight for the Dragon Balls. Piccolo points out it's not fair, which was an awesome thing to do because you never see people in the shows actually call these out. Usually it's the fans who do this, like, why would they agree to that when they have the advantage? We get Goku versus Du, which I think is great. It's fun, it's silly, and we get to see Goku fight against another Majin, like he did a few years ago in his time. I firmly believe that Goku could have wiped the floor with Du going all out. Now, we didn't get to see the full extent of that fight, and if he had gone Super Saiyan 3 to fight Du, he would have totally won, my opinion at least. And I think Du and him would have had to team up to take on Goku. And it would have been an interesting fight, which would have probably thrown Vegeta in, and the 2 of them together might have fought the 2 of them together. We don't know how that would have gone, but I think it would have been fun. But, of course, Goma is like, oh, what's this all about? I'm here to cause a ruckus and screw up all your plans because I'm king and I'm staying king. He didn't say any of that, but it's quite obvious. Of course, Vegeta went in for the punch, and I gotta say, there was a lot of parallels between Goma, Jiren, and Broly. Especially Goma blocking Vegeta with one finger, and then later on you see Goma going into a Broly type explosion. There's nothing wrong with them referencing past animation, it's giving him that sense of power that those 2 characters have, and it works. One thing I especially loved, Bulma calls out that Goku is not being himself when he asks everyone to come join the fight with him. Because, Goku's a Saiyan, he wants to fight, but he can just... I don't know if he can detect how strong Goma is because it's magic, maybe it is key, but he knows the threat is huge, literally. And he knows he can't do it by himself, most likely. Which is why I don't think, at the end when we see Super Saiyan 3 Goku, it's gonna help in the fight against Goma, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. We might see Goku Super Saiyan 3 and Vegeta Super Saiyan 3 challenging him and maybe being on par, but probably not enough, which is why those bugs will come back in that you see Goku drop. Probably gonna be them 2 fusing because that's, I'm guessing, the way that it's going. But yeah, I've got no qualms with how this is going. It's amazing. The freaking animation is beautiful. We've seen crazy good fight animations this whole entire series. This is just the icing on the cake. And I think even next episode is going to outdo this. It's called Awakening. I'm guessing that's going to suggest, the awakening of a fusion, or maybe it means something else. But I don't think it's what other people on social media have been saying. Again, I saw another person talking about Super Saiyan 4 being in Daima, to the point where they made it look like a real fake screen cap it's a picture of the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta and Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta on a TV screen, even with a Crunchyroll overlay saying the episode name and a random time in the middle of the episode. Like, they went to great lengths to try and make it look legit, and people definitely fell for that because I was reading comments, and then the man himself, Slow Plays, reposted it, and I'm pretty sure he knew it was fake, but he definitely was hyping that art up, and I'm sure that's going to add to the confusion because a bunch of Dragon Ball fans follow him. Another thing I got reminded of during this fight, the beam struggle when all of them charged up their attacks and shot it at Goma. It reminded me of the fight with Hachiyak in the non-canon special because, they all did the same thing. They charged up a team attack at each other because the foe was just so overwhelming they thought that that's what they would need to take it down. This time, it didn't do a thing. It just shows how crazy powerful Goma is with his third eye. Speaking of power, let's discuss that for a minute. I'm sure some people are going to be like, oh, I wonder how strong Goma is. I think he's above Super Saiyan 3 tier, and maybe below God tier. It's like somewhere in that range. Probably, I don't know, let's say 2 or 3 times stronger than Super Saiyan 3. It's hard to tell until the series is over. After that, I'll get a better feeling, and I'll power scale it if I can. I'd like to scale the whole entire series of Daima and see how I can figure out where everyone falls. I know that's a crazy endeavor because power scaling is nuts and only some people like it, but hey, why not? Some fans have called Goma's design lazy because it mirrors Jiren a lot. The red and black, the body shape, and just the design. There's similarities, but there's differences. Goma is overly muscular to a disgusting degree. Jiren is muscular, but it's a little more refined. Goma is just muscles just for muscle's sake. Jiren is muscles, but it doesn't feel as crazy outwardly bulging like how Super Saiyan Grade 3 does. That's just my take. I think Toriyama, took some designs from the Pride Troopers for him, but I mean, hey, who cares? It looks cool. I'm not gonna complain about it, especially since he does invoke Jiren a bit, which was a recent thing. So it gives that sense of power. Speaking of Goma's power, he seems to be using a lot of matter manipulation. I don't know if that's his magic or if that's the Third Eye's magic, but, he used the rocks floating around his castle to make the arena. When he fights, he seems to favor chucking huge rocks at people. Now, maybe that's just him doing that just because he can, or maybe, that's his magic, like Glorious's lightning. Kind of sad we haven't really seen a whole lot of differences in magic besides this, Niva's magic, which he seems to have the most diverse type of magic, and a few other examples, but I was expecting a lot more magic in the demon realm. Not that there isn't, but, I guess we just stayed so close to the plot that we didn't get to see a whole lot of it, which is fine. One thing I got a good chuckle over is, when the fight with Goma starts, Glorio just straight up takes out his gun. I get it, it's his gun, and it worked on enemies before, but it's not enough. He needs to be using lightning full time, which he does start using lightning later, but bro was just like, I'm gonna whip out my gun at this ultra powerful being. Oh my god. I want to talk about Niva. He again used his magic on the Tamagami, this time Tamagami number 1. He tried to influence it by winking at it to get him to get this suggestion to go fight with them and help them out, but he didn't. I think he picked up on it, but he didn't really think he had to, or was just stubborn about doing only the thing that he was made to do. But then Neva used a little bit of magical suggestion or brainwashing, who knows, and sent him off to fight. It was cool to see that. Neva seems to be definitely on his redemption arc thing that I've been talking about. He really wants to see something good for the demon realm, and I think that's going to culminate in something. I could be wrong, but maybe Neva sacrifices himself. Maybe he calls all 3 of the Tamagamis to summon and fight, and they fuse into Tamagami Mega or something. That's ridiculous, I know, but just, hey, hear me out here. I'm going off the wall with these. But I do think Neva is going to do something big. I could be wrong. I say that a lot, but it's because it's true. I could be, and I have been. But either he'll sacrifice himself in some kind of way, or maybe he'll even fuse with another Namekian. We got Piccolo and Dende, and maybe he wants to pass his knowledge on. Or maybe he just dies an old death, or he just stays in the demon realm like he has been. Who knows what'll happen with Neva. I hope it's not just staying behind the demon realm. Kind of boring, but it could leave him open for future stuff. We'll see. Like I always say, we will see. Oh, and the last thing I wanted to mention before I wrap up, the Daima opening has got an official extended release, and I love it. So yeah, that wraps it up for this week's episode. This coming one on Valentine's Day, I don't know if I'll be able to do my episode on time like I did this week because Valentine's Day, I have a girlfriend. But hey, we'll see. See you guys then. Hey guys, and welcome back to our Dragon Ball Daima reviews. This time, episode 18, Awakening. I'm gonna get right to it. Super Saiyan 4. It's back. I mean, I'm assuming that's what we're calling it. Dragon Ball Wiki already listed as that. Everyone else on the internet's calling it that. It's Super Saiyan 4. Now, I'm gonna be the first to say it. I was wrong. I've spent more than enough time not thinking this was gonna happen. Thinking that Toriyama wasn't gonna bring it back, because it just doesn't make sense to bring it back. But it happened. Before we get into the episode breakdown, I'm gonna take a minute to address how this form can fit into the timeline. There are two options here. Option A, Dragon Ball Daima is canon. Option B, Dragon Ball Daima is not canon. If Dragon Ball Daima is canon, there's only really one way that I can think of, mind you, I'm not Toriyama, but only one way I can think of to make it work and still not break Super. The only way Super Saiyan 4 works in canon is that it does not leave the demon realm. And what I mean by that is pretty literal. Goku must only be able to use it in the demon realm, and probably only when Neva is around. Otherwise, it just breaks canon. It just doesn't make sense that something so powerful he'd never use again. Super Saiyan 4, obviously league stronger than Super Saiyan 3, just from what we saw. But also, it begs the question, why didn't Goku whip that out when Beerus showed up? Or when literally anything else happened after the end of Daima? Same thing could be applied with Vegeta and Super Saiyan 3, but with him, it's probably more likely that, again, I've said this, he didn't want to use it, just like how he didn't even use it in this fight. It has to be a temporary transformation. Now, it doesn't have to be, obviously, it's fiction, the rules are whatever they say they are, but it just to keep things consistent, that's just how it has to be. And if Goku can end up using it at the end of Daima outside the demon realm, it's just going to make things complicated. We already have people complaining about how Supreme Kai, or should I say Nahare, and Kibito defused earlier than Super, which was already something we had to give Daima as a flexibility versus Super. But if Super Saiyan 4 exists outside the demon realm, it's just going to make even more headaches. And if that is the case, we might have to treat Daima as not canon. I don't want to do that. I really hope they really do Super Saiyan 4 its due, and let it be its cool thing, because let me remind you, I don't hate GT. GT has issues, Super has issues. Every work of fiction has issues in some way. But we have to agree that it does not make sense for it to leave Daima. I know I've said that multiple times. It's just how it is. The implementation of it, interesting. Let's get into it a little. So, Goku and everyone was struggling against King Goma with the third eye. Even Super Saiyan 3, he was putting up a good fight, he was actually landing punches, and then Ku decided to give Du a cookie, which made him power up. Mind you, I think this is more like a mental thing, maybe. Maybe the cookie actually gave him energy, but I doubt it was enough. I think it was more of a mental, I ate a cookie, I can get stronger. And so he powered himself up. Ku was very blatant that it was a power-up, but I don't know. Anyways, he mimicked Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Obviously, Du isn't Saiyan, but when he powered up, he was looking at Goku, thinking of Goku, fighting with Goku, and so he mimicked it, and I think it's funny, and heck, it might even be a reference. To anyone who knows Toriyama's works outside of Dragon Ball, well, technically this is still inside of Dragon Ball, he did a manga called Neko Majin, where the main character was magical, Majin, Neko, he's a magic cat. And he could basically mimic anything. I believe he mimicked Super Saiyan. Du might be doing something similar with magic where he was mimicking Goku and also powering himself up at the same time. Who knows? We don't know what it is. We'll see. Anyways, the two of them get their butt kicked. Du loses his temporary power-up. And Goku's about to get his ass supremely whooped by Goma. Then Neva shows up, and he stands over Goku and shoots a little magical beam at him. And, it wasn't explained what this is. There was no context of it whatsoever outside of the context of the show showing Neva to be a very strong magician. Between powering up the Tamagamis, removing the barriers between the demon worlds, and just all his magic he's shown, high-level magic craziness. And, you know, we're just going to have to give it to him and say that he gave Goku a magical demon energy based boost, which created a quote unquote demon like form for a Saiyan, which is probably how Super Saiyan 4 is going to be rationalized. It is a Daima Demon Realm exclusive transformation using magic energy and Demon Realm influence. Let's talk about the design of this new Super Saiyan 4. They made some changes. The eyes and the hair, as well as the fur, are all red, all the same shade. It's like that reddish pink, so I think this version's a little more red than pink, but it did look very pink at some points. It's more consistent completely throughout, which is fine. It did throw me at first, but I don't hate it. What did throw me was there were some shots where his hands looked a little too big or too weird. I don't know. He grew a little bit. He was still in a kid body, but like it was more like a teenager body. I think that was calling back to how Super Saiyan 4 worked in GT, making Goku an adult again, but he didn't become an adult in this, obviously. He just looked a little bigger. Maybe I'm wrong. I'll have to analyze that scene where he gets shrunk back down to 4 to 3 to 1 and all that. But otherwise, it looks pretty solid. Transition between the fur to the skin from the forearm to the hands seemed a little weird, but whatever. He has the wrist guards, I think, so that breaks it up. There was some interesting design choices being made here. I don't know if Toriyama himself redesigned 4 or if this was someone else on the production staff, but it's good. I would make some tweaks personally, but you know that's just my opinion. I'm not saying I know better than Toriyama, but yeah, overall it looks cool. The rule of cool here, you know, they did not explain too much with how it works, and you know with the rule of cool, it's like, hey, if it looks cool and it works, who cares? Well, I care, and I'm sure other people care. GT fans, you won this round. I recede my statements. It was cool, and I'll probably never hear the end of this from all of you, and I'm sure it's gonna never end. That being said, again, still fun, really cool seeing Goku kick butt, because once he went 4, he really just started thrashing Goma until Goma went giant. Which, the third eye, that is such a broken plot device. I don't know if you guys know, but in DC, Superman is as strong as he needs to be, more or less. You know, different rules for different continuities and versions of him, but that's how the writers usually go. He's as strong as he needs to be. I'm wondering if the third eye operates on a similar principle. Goma can just keep getting stronger the more he uses it, and the more power he unleashes. I'm guessing there's going to be some kind of drawback. They're going to have to beat Goma, obviously, in the next episode somehow. We'll see how that happens. You know, we got the fusion bug still, and Vegeta's there, so we might get a Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's kind of crazy how the powers have gotten off the rails in the last 2 episodes. Which is what we expected, because Daima was so laid back and low-key, and the finale was going to have to be this intense. I'll be honest with you guys, my first initial reaction to seeing Super Saiyan 4 wasn't a great one. And it's not that I, like, again, don't like Super Saiyan 4, I don't know. I had it so set in my mind that it wasn't going to happen that I was, like, flipping my shit that it actually was. And I was just, like, worried about the continuity of Dragon Ball going forward. But I've calmed down, and I'm okay with it. And we'll see where it goes. One thing I really liked, this Demon Realms version of Porunga. It's interesting that he didn't get, like, his own name. All the other dragons have had their own name besides Super Shenron, which is just Super Shenron. We could have gotten, like, Demon Porunga or something, or, like, Daima Porunga, literally anything. But it's literally just Porunga and is red, and he's got some blue accents, but that's definitely a callback to, what was it, not Omega Shenron, the Dark Shenron from GT. I don't remember his name, but Ultimate Shenron, was it? Yeah, it's definitely, this is such a GT adaptation into the canon, and I'm not angry about it, because it's being done right, as long as Super Saiyan 4, again, is not messed up. I'm sorry I'm hammering that to death, but it seems good, and I'm not really upset about any of it. I did love when Goma saw the dragon, and he knew that they were trying to be up to something. He went to freaking attack Porunga, and Porunga just flicked him away like it was nothing. You don't really see villains trying to attack the dragon. You see them trying to get the dragon. So it was really interesting to see that, and just to see how freaking powerful Porunga was. I don't know where these Dragon Balls lie in the scale of power. I would guess, you know, it logically makes sense that the Earth Dragon Balls are probably the weakest, Follow that by the Namekian Dragon Balls, then the Demon Realm Dragon Balls, and then of course the Super Dragon Balls. I don't know where the other Dragon Balls from the Super manga falls. Maybe in between Demon Realm and Purunga. I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, it's interesting to see. We've got like a Dragon Ball set for every single series. Anyways, Goma attacking the dragon was great, and him getting flicked away like that with nothing was great. They tried to build tension as to what Gloria was going to wish for. He obviously is following Arinsu for one reason. Maybe she promised him power, or money, or wealth, or has his family captive, or there's some reason why she's listening to her. Maybe we'll never get that explained, because we sure as hell haven't had it explained now. But with the memory and all the flashbacks, it's quite clear that he's not going to wish for her to become powerful. After fighting with Goku and all of the memories he has with them that he clearly saw, he probably wished for them to be turned back, or something, a good positive wish for the good guys. Arinsu's probably going to lose her shit, but who cares? She's not seemingly powerful. I can only imagine how crazy the internet's going. I didn't really look at much today because I was just busy and I wanted to view this by myself without any influence from the internet, and I didn't get spoiled, which I got lucky that I didn't get spoiled, because I'm betting this is everywhere. So, yeah, we'll see what happens next episode. I honestly can't say I think I know where it's going. I thought I did, but I was very wrong. It was a little... The fact that it was too predictable was the reason why I didn't predict it. Because, if you thought about it, really, from the beginning, that this was just a GT remake, Super Saiyan 4 would have probably been the natural conclusion. A bunch of people went there and said that. I thought it was going to be more of its own thing, which is fine. It's still its own thing, but we'll either get Fusion next episode or something. We'll see. All cards are on the table. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know how they're going to wrap this up. Hopefully, I don't go crazy when this does, because if they don't wrap it up a certain way, my brain won't be able to handle it. I'm being completely honest. Anyways, I'll see you guys next week. Have fun and enjoy Super Saiyan 4. Hey guys, and welcome back to Dragon Ball Daima Reviews. This time, the second to last episode, episode 19, Betrayal. We continue where we left off with Glorio making his wish, and as to nobody's surprise, it's him wishing for them all to become adults again, or go back to their normal. We don't know exactly how he worded the wish. Maybe someone out there knows Namekian and can translate it. I probably could if I cared enough. And I do care, but I'm not going to. Anyways, we get glorious animation of them returning back to their normal forms. And they gotta say, just the animation in this episode, top notch. They really saved all of the good shit for this stuff. Not that the rest of the season wasn't good, it was, but this is peak. Vegeta gets cranky, and we get his glorious adult Super Saiyan 3, and wow, one thing I gotta say is that not only did it look great, but there was a huge difference in their base level powers between child and adult. I knew that when they got wished down to a kid, they got nerfed because of their size, but throughout the series, you didn't really get a huge implication that their power had diminished. It was probably implied, but never directly stated. So seeing Vegeta just going toe-to-toe in his base form compared to how he was handling it as Super Saiyan as a kid, there's just a world of difference there. And then when he went Super Saiyan 3, to me it felt as if they were implying that his Super Saiyan 3 was stronger than Goma, but the fact that Goma is like an android and he just keeps recovering and can keep channeling power that's on par, it doesn't really do anything. You can't beat an unstoppable force, basically, no matter how strong you are. And that's what the show is trying to get us to think. His power could also be correlated to his size, because it seems like he hits harder the bigger he is, which, kind of obvious, physically hitting harder. I mean, his power seems to be scaling with his size. I could be just guessing at that here, but that's just my thoughts. But anyways, Vegeta rocks his shit, and he does it beautifully, giving us a final flash, giving us everything, and just doing service to Super Saiyan 3. Daima's done a world of service to Super Saiyan 3. And then, everyone realizes that they can't beat him as is, and they need a plan, and they're looking for openings and all that. And Arinsu shows up, and she's like, I'm not helping you for you, I'm helping you for me, which is obvious because, she wants to be Demon Realm Queen and all that. And we find out that the weakness is to hit him in the back of the head 3 times, which, interesting weakness, sounds very Toriyama. very kind of thought out, but not really. I mean, I guess it makes sense. The third eye's in the front of the forehead. Hitting on the back would make it jolt out, especially with how it was able to be plopped in and apparently plopped out. But anyways, that's not really super important. It's the MacGuffin that's going to help them save the day. One important thing we learned is finally the relationship between Glorio and Arinsu. We obviously knew that he was working for her. We didn't know why. We didn't get the full story, but all we got was she helped him out of the third demon world. I'm guessing he was up there struggling to survive and showed some kind of aptitude, whether it's with his mind or with his combat or both. And she was like, alright, you're hired, do this for me. And obviously had a change of heart and switched sides, and he said, sorry, I appreciate everything you've done. It's actually very nice. Like, Arinsu was not gonna be like, I'm gonna kill you. She's got a touch of nice humanity in her, and she just doesn't like to admit it. I was very happy with how they did this. I want to know a little more about Glorio, but maybe we'll get that in the future. One thing, though, that I think a lot of people thought hilarious was when Bulma called down Vegeta and was like, you're not going to be able to take a bath with me if you don't stop fighting. Like, ah, man. Vegeta was a gentleman earlier saying he wouldn't touch Bulma as a kid, which was great, but we also see that he has his needs, and it's hilarious that Bulma's like calling him out like that in front of everybody. He's gonna probably be so shy, and I can so see Goku teasing him over that, like with the scene in Battle of Gods where he goes, my Bulma, and Goku teases him for that. Man, he's a lover boy, and we all knew it, but like, boy does it really show sometimes because of Bulma. Anyway, Goku shows up and he, gives us the whole treat. He does the harkening back to the Buu Saga, because that's what this whole entire thing is, a harken back to the Buu Saga with a touch of GT. Well, actually, more than a touch, but he goes, this is my Super Saiyan. This is Super Saiyan 2. And I could be wrong, but I think even like, this is beyond 2, referencing 3. I don't know if I got the words right there, but, he does the thing from the Buu Saga where he goes 1, 2, 3. And then he's like, a little bit extra. And then the internet collectively lost their shit when he went Super Saiyan 3 shirtless, and then goes up to 4. Now, let's talk about that for a sec. Goku accessing Super Saiyan 4 without Neva. It's for canon, it's rough. If he only does it in Daima, like I said previously, and only in the Demon Realm, then you could make the argument that like he's just being able to access it now, and Goku when he fought Beerus was able to absorb the God power and channel it, and maybe that's what he's doing here again with Super Saiyan 4, but hopefully it's like temporary, because again, if Super Saiyan 4 exists outside of Daima, then why didn't he use it? And I know a million other people are saying the same exact thing, and there's got to be a retcon or something, or we don't know, but we'll find out within the next episode, and I've been saying that, and we're going to find out, and we're not finding out, which is what's concerning me, because there's a good chance they might just leave it alone and not be mentioned. I'm hoping that's not what happens, but it's very possible. Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta doesn't look like it's happening. It could be. If you want to see my take of that, I posted a video the other day of what it would look like in my sprite style. Go check that out. There's a lot of questions about how this is going to wrap up. Is Neva going to pull that on Vegeta and they're both going to go Super Saiyan 4 and beat the crap out of him and get the eye that way? Is it going to be some trickery? We'll find out. There's not a whole lot to say about this episode story-wise besides just people punching each other Dragon Ball Z style and a lot of cool action, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I don't know. How this finale goes is gonna be important to the lore of Dragon Ball. Like I've said before, it's gonna go one of two ways. Daima's gonna be either continuing into the canon because they've referenced canon materials and expanded on the lore, and that's fine. But Super Saiyan 4's got to make sense somehow that way, or it's just not going to be canon at all, and that would be a real shame. Toei might not even care about canon or not. These companies don't always care about that. Sometimes you get Nintendo doing the Zelda timeline and trying to make everything work. Sometimes you just get Sonic where they're like, oh yeah, it's all a part of it. And, that's nothing wrong with that. But there's different approaches to storytelling, and I don't know what they're going to go with. We'll find out. We're now in the era of Dragon Ball where Toriyama doesn't exist in it anymore. This was the last thing he was in. Unless Toriyama left it to be seen by fans and by everyone, this is what my intentions are, it's going to be up to the companies. And also up to Toyotaro. So we can only hope for the best, that it pleases everyone. But it's not impossible. You can do it. You can make everybody happy. And Daima is, for the most part, making everybody happy. The last 2 episodes have crashed Crunchyroll just like Ultra Instinct did, just like Dragon Ball has done. So Overall, I think Daima is going to be an amazingly remembered series. There are people who hate it, and I've seen it, and I disagree with them. Their their takes are usually not very well thought out, putting it nicely. There was one other thing I wanted to discuss before we wrap this up. We saw the Dragon Balls split and go off as they normally do. Where did they go? In this shot, you see that Tamagami number 1 didn't get the 1 star back. I'm going to assume that 2 and 3 also didn't get theirs back. Maybe they got scattered around the first Demon Realm world because, that's what it looked like from the visual, but I would hope that they got scattered between the 3 Demon worlds because 3 Dragon Balls, 3 worlds, 3 guys. So we don't know. Maybe they'll answer that too. Maybe they won't. We'll see. So yeah, we'll see you guys next week for the finale. Peace. Hey everyone, welcome back to our Dragon Ball Daima reviews. Today we're covering the finale, episode 20, Maximum. Plot-wise, this episode is mostly just the fight against Goma. We obviously get gorgeous animation with Goku and Super Saiyan 4. He does some crazy things. We definitely know that Goma is above Super Saiyan 3 in strength, probably below Super Saiyan 4 in strength, because Goku has been able to match it, and he did seem to get tired throughout the fight, but it didn't look like he was being overpowered like he was in the last few fights. Being an adult really made a difference in terms of his usage and power. Vegito is a great example of this. His Kamehameha not only visually reminded us of one of the Kamehamehas from GT, but it was also so powerful to punch a hole through Goma with a third eye and through all 3 levels of the Demon World. Or I guess I should say 2 levels because there's only 2 above them. Not only does this further connect the Demon World, which we get to later, but it's just a feat of strength that he can do. We do know that the Demon World is bigger than Earth, and we know that it's a planet that has planets in it. So we don't really know the scale, but it has to be huge. It just looks huge. So that's not nothing. That's more than planet busting, in my opinion. Ultimately, he was not able to defeat Goma in the traditional sense. Piccolo's tactic of hitting him in the back of the head failed, but then we got the GOAT Majin Ku coming in and hitting him in the back with a book and just saving the day. Glorio then stepping on the third eye, destroying it, was a nice touch, really showing his character development and that he is committed to being one of the good guys. Obviously, we got that last episode, but just another nice little thing that he did. After that comes the wrap-up with Goma and Degasu being sent off to the little spirit bottle prison for 99 years for not being completely evil and killing a baby, which, honestly, I get that because it's Toriyama and he doesn't want to go too dark, but if this is the Demon Realm, wouldn't it make sense to make it pretty dark? I mean, they did with kidnapping and all that. That's not like a light thing, but I think you guys might understand what I mean, that Toriyama kind of played it safe with his depictions of evilness. I did like how they addressed Arinsu was not fully evil and she had a touch of her humanity, or whatever the exact word that Shin used was. And Du being crowned king of the Demon Realm just felt awesome. They'd been underplaying the crap out of him with small hints here and there about his intelligence being his biggest factor and his character being the most important thing about him, and it led to him being a great Demon King. He already started picking out people from different aspects of the Demon Realm. The king from the the king from the third world. You've got the witch who made Boo and all the others that he had. It seems like he's going to be a fair and just ruler, and he's going to keep some of that Demon Realm devilishness as a joke he meant at Rinsu. Because, the Demon Realm is still going to be the Demon Realm at the end of the day, but he's going to make it a better place to live, which is good. Now, for the last few videos, I've been talking about how I've been struggling with the idea of Super Saiyan 4 being canon, but considering Akira Toriyama is the one who wrote all this and did all this is his last project, and heck, it's the anniversary of the day he died, the day I'm recording this. I'm gonna let go of it. It's really kind of childish for me to even worry about that. Yes, canon can be important to have an established storyline, but I don't think that Super Saiyan 4 completely breaks things. Because Goku said that he'd been training for it, but he couldn't reach it. Neva used his magic to unlock that potential, similar to how it was done on Namek with Elder Guru. And Goku had never gotten that before, so Super Saiyan 4 for him is like his potential unlocked, which is a nice thing, which is a nice little callback to that arc. Daima overall had a lot of little things like that where they call back to previous things, and it was good. So I believe that Super Saiyan 4 can fit, and the panel on the manga of Dragon Ball Super where he goes Super Saiyan 3 is my highest form. The rationale to fix that, if someone's actually worried about this, is that, that's a different continuity. The manga and the Super anime, they completely diverge from each other. The fight with Zamasu, very different. Tournament of Power had differences. It's okay for them to be different. And, just because Goku doesn't use it or Vegeta doesn't use the Super Saiyan 3 doesn't mean it can't work. So I think this is a chance for all of us who love Dragon Ball, whether it be Super or GT or just Z. This is just something Dragon Ball fans can get behind and enjoy. And it's a good way to end things for Toriyama's life. He's trying to bring us all together. And I've already thought about how Super Saiyan 4 can be implemented going forward because you're like, why didn't he use it during Super? Well, first off, Super has God level powers, so it called for God powers. Toyotaro could do something really good with Super Saiyan 4. He could somehow put Goku and maybe even Vegeta in a situation where they're not able to access their god powers, where they're restricted from using them. Maybe there's a villain that comes and can siphon off that power from them for a short time and they can't access them at all. What can he use then? Super Saiyan 4, his next best bet. Because Super Saiyan 4, based off of what we've seen in Daima, is definitely not anywhere near the God realm. It's above 3, but it is not godly strong. It could get stronger over time, have it adapt and get stronger like it did in GT and, dare I say, Super Dragon Ball Heroes. For anything, I just beg that that doesn't become canon. Let that be its commercial marketing thing on its own. Don't let it inflict on us. Anyways, Super Saiyan 4 can come back and we can have it all work and everybody can be happy. Seriously, I said this last video, Daima is a series that should make everybody happy. There's no reason we all have to bicker and fight about what's canon and what's not. And I think Toriyama probably thought about that. He probably decided, I'm going to bring Super Saiyan 4 and other elements from GT into the fold so that I can have the fan base unite. Maybe he didn't think about it like that. Maybe he didn't really, I don't know how well he read into the people who enjoy his content. I'm pretty sure he's in touch with what people like and what don't like, considering he's the one who made this and he did do polls based off popularity back in the day, which is why Vegeta stuck around. Anyways, there's nothing, in my opinion, wrong with Daima. It is a beautiful story. It is a well animated story. It's all around. It's up there. I dare say it's better than Super. Some people might say, oh yeah, Super sucks, but no. Super is not as bad as some people say it is. Yes, it has flaws. Yes, Daima has some issues too. Not anything crazy, but, just let it be. Enjoy it. Go on a journey with Goku and his friends to the Demon Realm. That's what it is. Now, the way they ended it was kind of funny. Vegeta complaining that Goku has a new form that he hid from everyone again, like he did with Super Saiyan 3, and then Goku teasing him about going Super Saiyan 3 where he goes Ultra Vegeta 1. Obviously, no one's going to call it that, but I can totally see a bunch of people on the inside of the Dragon Ball fandom now calling his Super Saiyan 3 Ultra Vegeta 1. I probably will as a joke. And I gotta say, that last ending segment, when they go into the shop again to get more Medibugs or Stamina Bugs, whatever they're called, and they find a jar of 2 more Evil Eyes, Toriyama, that's hilarious. I love you for that. I can't believe it. Maybe some people might think that he's setting up for another villain. I'm hoping that Bulma bought them and was like, I'm taking these and hiding them away. Because imagine someone puts on both of those demon eyes, like the power, that could be truly a god level threat. We don't know if those are going to be just a gag that Toriyama did, his last gag before the Daima show ended, or if it's just it's a setup for a future chapter. Now that this is over and Toriyama's gone, sadly, I think that Toyotaro is going to be fully behind the wheel now. So we're going to be in a bit of a Dragon Ball drought for a little while, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong. But, we've been through it before between End of Z to Battle of Gods. We did get content, but nothing really official. All we can do now is stay together as a fandom and hope for the best. I have faith in Toyotaro. I have some faith in Toei. Not a whole lot, because, again, Super Dragon Ball Heroes. But yeah, I'm very glad this series happened. And it was nice doing all these reviews with you. Thank you to all the people who tuned in. I hope you guys have truly enjoyed this and went through this ride with me. And I hope you guys have a good one. Maybe you'll see me again in the future.